with my ambition as a one day local councillor potentially, it's like you need to be able to have these conversations.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's it was just, I don't know, you're only ever the best version of yourself as you progress on, you know. And I think this time a year ago, I maybe would have known that I'd not want to be there and not done anything about it. And a year before that, I wouldn't have even known that I didn't want to be there.
That's true.
So it's like, all right, I'm just happy that I'm here.
It's fantastic that you were able to, and I admire that. That's confidence, that you were able to trust your gut. And that you were able to stop and think, okay, there's something about this that's off. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I don't feel it's right, and I'm going to walk away. So many people get that feeling, and they're like, I'll just stick with it.
I don't want to be rude.
Number one, I don't want to be rude. Number two, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? I'll just stick with it. And it happens not only on a business level, it happens unfortunately on a personal level. People get into relationships, right? Yeah. And they're like, it doesn't feel right. But what if I'm wrong? What if I'm not doing this right? And then, you know, they kind of feel obliged to stick with it because they don't want to quote unquote rock the boat. They don't want to, you know, stand out. And it just stays there.
Yeah.
And
then they normalize the feeling.
They normalize the feeling, but at the same time, it's corroding them on the inside.
Yeah.
And then you're left with an empty shell.
And you look for your tribe, right? You echo chamber yourself with other bad opinions and other people in bad situations. They're like, no. Yeah, let's go for a crazy example. People that are stuck in DV situations tend to stay in DV situations because they normalize it here.
Correct.
It then turns into a deserving thing. Yes. Do I deserve this? What it is? And then they catch whispers of other people in the situation, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, right. And it goes back to that. You're the average. You're the average of your 5 best friends.
Yes.
So if you hang out with people in your situation, you'll think your situation is normal.
Correct.
And where you should be.
Correct. Correct. No, you're right there.
It's one, if you're unaware of it, it's scary. And you said before, this isn't just a business thing, this is a personal thing. For most people, it's a personal thing.
Yes. For
the rare few that are in a situation like me, it's a business thing. And I'm like, I've got to make money, right? I'm not going to be here.
Exactly.
What are we talking about?
Exactly.
I've got a real thing going on back at the office. I'm going to go do that.
Exactly.
Business is a metaphor for personal growth.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's
a lot of people don't want to invest the time and energy into personal growth. It's too scary. And it is. It's exhausting. You know, and then the other thing about it is that you have to stop and look at parts of yourself. And you're going to have to stop and look at parts of yourself that you don't necessarily want to see. You know, they're not pretty.
That's right.
And then you're like, you know.
Do I address that?
Do I address that? What do I do? Do I do this? Do I do that? And then you get overwhelmed.
Or do I stay where I'm comfortable? Correct. Do I look at the parts of the picture I like?
Correct. Correct.
You know, most of the time, the thing that's stopping you from moving to the next level, to advancing to the next stage, and whatever that is, personally or business wise, that thing is the thing that you're avoiding. And typically it's the thing that takes you the least amount of time to change once you look directly at it.
Yes.
So that rule I've found to be true, especially in business.
Yes.
You know, like business is business. You know, you sell a product or a service. Usually it's fairly straightforward, and it gets more intricate the longer you get into it. The longer you get into it, you go like, I understand the landscape. I understand the customer and the product, but I think, you know, in an ideal world, I'd have this thing built in my business. Right. I would have this element. I'd have this fill in the blank.
Well, then do it.
But I'm not the sort of person that can build that. I'm not the sort of person who can explore that or who can make that happen.
Yeah.
The difference between a business owner and a true weapon of, you know, probably a business owner, fill in the blank there with a cool insert, but the difference is a person who can execute on the motivation.
Yes.
To go, well, let me figure out how to do that, or let me speak to people that are smarter than me, or let me find someone who can help me, or whatever it is. Yeah. Carry that across to the personal development.
Yes, yes.
I'm the sort of person that gets shy in public, in social situations. Well, go be in more social situations.
Go be in more social situations and, you know, make yourself a little bit uncomfortable. It's
Pretend to be the person who can handle that.
Pretend.
Right? Yes. Until you become that person. Correct. But it's easy just to go like, no, I'll stay home and scroll.
So Jude says something, and You know, for a 17-year-old, the child is quite insightful. And he says, "Mama, waiting kills." And then he says, don't sit there which he's got ADHD, which makes him extra impulsive, right? Although, if you ask me, I don't think anything's wrong with the way his brain works. I think it's just different. His brain just works differently, and he's 17. And by the time he gets to, full brain development at around 25, I think he'll be fine. It's just him. It's just the way he is. But part of his impulsivity is this waiting kills. But because he refused to wait, right, for things, he went ahead and he, started his own little T-shirt business, which and started, he did as much as he could do. And then he's like, "Oh, I have to wait for somebody else." And it's like, bullshit. I'm not going to. He called these guys in Pakistan and he called these guys in China and was negotiating with them at school when he was at boarding on the few times he had his little phone. And then he's like, "Mama, I wasn't going to wait until you do it or Dad does it or somebody else does it for me. I want to do this." Waiting kills, Mama. Waiting kills. If you just sit there and wait and wait and wait, just do it. And bless him. I've it's been a big move for me. Big move, right? Coming here. Yeah. And I kept saying, maybe I'll wait for the right. Maybe I'll wait for the right. He's like, "Mama, waiting kills, remember? Just go do it. Go do something, with yourself." So
I think the leap between knowledge of doing something and executing on it, you want to shorten that amount of time possible, because every moment you don't do that, you spend worrying about what happens if it goes right or wrong, which you'll learn what will go right or wrong when you do it.
Exactly. And then you start, and what happens is when you sit there and you what if, you start losing confidence, you start doubting yourself, you start, all of that creeps in, and then you get overwhelmed and paralyzed.
All right, let me stop you right there. Today's podcast is proudly brought to you by BLXCK INK. BLXCK INK, which is obviously my brand, has just released 6 new designs across 3 different colors. You can get all of those tees on www.blackink.com.au. The link is in the description below. All of the t-shirts are a really cool fusion of loving where we live, which is Bunbury, and of course the brand BLXCK INK. So if you haven't already, check them out and support the podcast by purchasing your favorite tee. And back to the podcast. Yeah, I think as soon as you have these, like, I'm very imaginative, right? And I think when you go, like, sort of...
You're creative, you would be.
That's new news to me, by the way. I've only just realized I'm creative in the past, 2-3 years. I know, crazy. Anyway, so with the concept of going, okay, imagine if I did my own printing.
Yes.
Imagine if I, supplied uniforms instead. And you have this thing in your mind where you're like, oh, every business needs uniforms. If I did my own printing, I could cut out most of the wait time. I could control the cost. I could do it, right? It goes from that stage to, oh, this is exciting, to,
oh my God.
Okay, well, let me just figure out if this is viable.
Exactly.
Well, the print is $50,000. Well, there's already other uniform providers, and you start to...
Why would they choose me? And what am I...
Oh, no. That's even further. I'm going just logical... Why shouldn't I do this, right? Not the emotional, am I good enough to do it? That comes afterwards, because the first period lasts a day. The second period lasts probably 2 days, where you're like, all right, let me pressure test it.
Right.
And then you've got the week to 6 years of what if they don't like me? What if I stuff up? What if I go broke? Exactly. What if my friends don't like me anymore? What if my girl leaves me? What happens and then it gets so far down the track that you're like, oh, what if my shoes don't fit my feet anymore? And you're like, it's not even about the original thing anymore.
I know. You get lost in that.
Right?
You get lost in the labyrinth in your head.
A cyclone of doubt.
Yes.
So I've gone to this thing that and also this all falls on the fact that you have to understand that, I don't want to get conspiracy theorist about it, but we have been trained out of our potential as a human.
Yes.
Through systemized education, through getting a job,
100%.
Starting and stopping to a bell, all the rest.
100%.
I've retrained myself to go, what if it fucking works?
Yes.
What if it works?
Yes.
What if they choose you?
Yes.
What if you win?
Yes. What if you win?
What if you made everyone in town was wearing your uniform, right?
Yes.
And when you train that into yourself, because as I said before, you don't like being in social situations, pretend you're the person who does until you do.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So for me, and I find there's a consistency here with my real winner business friends, right? People who own businesses that are not just happy that they're making $1 million a year.
Right.
They're like, what if we win harder? What if we win bigger?
Yes.
What if the business is better?
Yes.
And then what if we sell for 5 million? And then what if we do, and then what if, so that what if, instead of being a trained negative response loop, it's a trained positive response loop.
Yes. And do you know what that is called, my friend? It's called ambition.
Ambition.
And this is something which a lot more people in this country need to have.
Considering we have so much like resources,
Amazing.
opportunity. Yeah.
Amazing. You know?
It's eye-opening coming back from Lebanon a month ago, and you have consistent power and the water's clean and drinkable and there's no corruption. Well, there is corruption, but it's not at the same level. And
have they cleaned the street? Are there still garbage in the street?
Yeah.
They haven't cleaned that up yet. Okay.
No. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's garbage in the street with refugees sifting through it with, but, you know, I came home and I was going to say between you and I, but we're on a public podcast. So
we are? Okay.
between you, me, and the podcast,
yes.
I came home with a mountain of debt. I shouldn't have gone. I could not afford it.
Right.
And I just called people in my list and I paid the money back. And
good on you.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
You realize that, you know, I'm sure if I just called everyone on my Rolodex and just said, hey, do you need any, or I'm just checking up with your last order or just what's going on.
Right. I'm
sure some of them would say, hey, I need to put in another order.
Right.
I don't know what the actual numbers are, but I would, by feel, it's over 50% of the people I call say, oh, I need to put in an order.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So the point that I'm highlighting here is there's so much money floating around our little town alone. I only service Bunbury businesses. Yes. Only. Well, there's so much money floating around that I just call people and ask how they are and they want to give me more of it.
Yes. Yes.
Can you do that in Lebanon?
No.
80% are poverty.
Yes.
How does that work? How does that work? I met 2 billionaires in Lebanon. I've never met a billionaire here.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
The divide is so crazy.
Oh, it is insane. It is absolutely insane.
And then you wonder, like, people whinging about anything here, you know? And I know it's like you go, easy for you to say, easy for me to say someone who's been working their ass off for 5 years in one direction and now they're getting results. Easy for me to say.
It's not. It hasn't been easy.
It's easier to go to work. It's easier to fly in, fly out. It's easy to take your check and shut up.
Yes.
It's easy to buy a jet ski and pay it off for the next 5 years.
That's the thing.
You know?
Yeah.
It's about easy.
Or buy a a car that you can ill afford, or buy spend money on all of these toys. Yeah, no, I hear you.
It's but I feel like I'm just saying the same stuff I always say. You're Egyptian?
Yes.
Beautiful. You and your husband?
Okay, the story.
Yeah.
So you are going to get me talking about myself.
All right, we're good. Go.
Good? Doggy's good? Okay.
And I just want to make sure we're picking up levels on your microphone.
Okay. Do you want me to scoot you closer?
Go a little bit closer if you don't mind.
Is that better?
Talking to it?
Is that better? Hello?
Perfect. You
All
got
right,
it.
there we go. So, why are we here story. My husband's Australian. He's of Egyptian origin, but he grew up over east in Sydney.
Okay.
His parents emigrated when he was a little baby. I can't remember. He was less than a year old.
Yep.
And he lived in Sydney for about 15 years. And then his family moved back for family reasons. They moved back to Cairo at the time. And that's actually where we met several years later at work.
Yep.
And then he... and about 20 years ago, he's one of three. He's the eldest of three.
Yep.
His sister, who is 14 years younger, she and her husband emigrated to Perth. They got a job. Her husband got a job in Perth, and they moved from Cairo to Perth.
Yep.
And then a couple of years later, she called mom and dad and said, "Mom, Dad, I'm having children. Help! I need help." So mom and dad by then had been retired, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll come back to Australia then."
Okay.
So my in-laws moved back to Perth, and my mother-in-law is still in Perth, as is my sister-in-law. My father-in-law, God bless him, has passed on, and that's the Perth connection. It happened to be at the same time that we were living in Singapore, and I'll tell you how we came to live in Singapore.
Yeah.
But we're living in Singapore at the same time. So we would, Singapore, Perth is 5 hours. We would come and obviously visit family.
Yeah.
And then my kids were little then. My son was born in Singapore. I have an older daughter. She's 20 now.
Yep.
And they were tiny. We would take them here. And it was Perth and WA in general was always the anti-Singapore. Much slower pace, beautiful, green, lots of space, lots of place for the children just to be and run around, the ocean, the beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
So, and we would take them down to Margaret River. So we'd come for holidays, we'd come see family, and then we'd say, okay, kids, get in touch with nature. We need you to, pat a horse and understand what nature is.
Singapore's like The Sims.
Singapore, look, it's clean, it's green, it works very, very much.
Yeah.
Except once you pull back the curtain and then you realize that it's, it's just as messy and corrupt as everywhere else in the world. It's just smaller. It's 5 million people. The entire population is 5 million people.
Unreal.
So, tiny. So it's, but it works.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I had young children and it worked for us. We were living there, it worked. Towards the end of our stay, it kind of stopped working. It was, the prices gone crazy insane. Rent was insane. There was a rise in anti-foreigner sentiment. There was the same sort of populism and the same sort of internalization, looking inwards that you've had everywhere in the world was also happening in Singapore.
Right.
There was, so anyway, so that, and then we would come through Bunbury, obviously, from Perth to down south. We'd come through here and stop at the Dolphin Discovery Center and drive through, and it's like, oh wow, okay, this is nice. This is nice. And then one by one, as my son moved here first, so he was struggling in the Singapore school system because it was, when you're talking about education and how it makes, you either fit in the box or you don't. He didn't fit into the box. Yeah. And his strengths lie, they might not be in math and science, but his strengths lie in so many other ways. And, he has so much to give that the schooling system, even though it was like international schools and all of this, didn't quite appreciate. He did not fit into the typical academic box. Yeah. And it was harder for him because he started senior school as COVID hit, which meant... he's a product of that. Okay. He's a product of that.
Yeah.
Yes. So his senior schooling was at COVID time. It was, he had the entire first year of senior school. He didn't learn anything.
Wow.
We were locked down. So Singapore, we had it pretty hard during the lockdown. Yeah. Maybe not as bad as Melbourne, but it was definitely much, much worse than WA. And it was, he's those first year 7 and year 8. No, he didn't learn anything.
Wow.
And then they started year 9. It was all expected. You were supposed to do it online. You're supposed to do it yourself.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It was a very, very stressful time for everybody. It was very difficult for us. And rolling around year 9, he was expected to kind of do everything that he was supposed to. He was struggling. Yeah. And it was taking a toll on his mental health. It was taking a toll on all of us. And I was like, no, we made the decision that, no, this is not right for him. And we moved into boarding school in Perth.
Right.
And reason being Perth is that we had a family connection.
Yeah, yeah.
There was
sort of relatable.
Relatable.
Right.
And so he went first, started at Wesley, and has done incredibly well for himself. Starting, from somebody who is struggling to go to school to somebody who's finished school now with, he's got good grades. He's found himself. He's happy with his art. He's happy with his design. He's happy with his, the school has really, really, really been good for him. I'm very grateful to the support they've given him. They work with his strengths rather than highlight his weaknesses. Yeah, which is a good lesson for anybody dealing with human beings in general, because we all bring different things to the table. Yeah. And when we work with our strengths, that's when the best comes out of us, frankly. So that's him. The difference between my two kids is 2 years and a bit. And my daughter was at the same time finishing her final 2 years of high school. I didn't want to move her because they're critical 2 years of high school, and my daughter's, you know, academically, she puts in the hard work. She wants to do well for herself. She wants to study medicine eventually.
Yeah.
And so I said, right, we're going to finish you're going to finish your school. You're going to carry on. We're going to do this. And she did. And she's currently in UWA.
Right.
And, you know, she's finishing off her second year in UWA, and she's, you know, working hard, doing well, trying to achieve her goal and what she wants to do.
Yeah.
So both my kids left. And I was like, okay, sorry. I don't want to live without, I don't want to live without my family.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. There's no purpose. And yes, the purpose was making money, but it was a case of, I was doing a job that I'd done for the past, well, in different iterations, I'd done for 30 years. I've been a journalist for 30 years. And that particular iteration of the job that I was doing happened at a time when I was burnt out. And, you know, for me, it was a case of, is this what I'm sacrificing? You know, is this what is keeping me in a place where I'm not 100% sure I want to be, and I'm not 100% sure I'm comfortable with, and away from my children. And so we made the decision that, you know, to move here initially. And I really wanted to be here for my son's final year.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be here for his year 12. It was
especially if he's starting to develop and open up and find a place to belong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. We both, you know, it was very important to us. It was very important to me. And I'm very close with my boy, and we haven't always been close. We've had our disagreements and we've had our fights, but he's, you know, we're on a similar wavelength, him and I, you know, and, you know, being away from him, even though I was the one who sent him away, was for his own good. Yeah. Well, it was taxing. My daughter, God bless her as well. You know, I had this hole. Yeah. I had this massive hole in my life.
What without why is extremely difficult.
Thank you. Very, very well said. So initially I told my employer, and initially my employer was like, sure, you know, yeah, okay, absolutely, you can do your job from WA. So lovely, thank you very much. And then they crunched the math, and they realized it was more expensive to employ people in Australia than it is in Singapore. Of course. And then they're like, we're not sure we want to pay that much. And it's like, guys, are you sure? And more importantly, they didn't want to set a precedent of
that's acceptable.
That's acceptable. Because Singapore is it's a high pressure, very expensive environment now. A lot of people don't want to live there anymore. Companies are struggling to attract international talent of a certain caliber to Singapore because schooling is expensive. Most people are unable to access local schools. And then, so you have to put your kids through international schooling, which is expensive. And then you have to pay rent, which is expensive. And then living costs was, you know, the way the world is nowadays. Yeah. So they don't want to set a precedent as well. So I said, you guys have put me, you know, you've given me a choice where you know what the answer is, right? And I was like, So I said, well, yeah, you know, guess what? I am quitting. They're like, oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh, bye. Sorry to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to hear. Bye. So that's how we wound up here. My husband had a more sympathetic setup, and he was able to move his job to here.
Cool.
And he's also a journalist. Okay. So that's so thank God for that. You know, it worked out well this way. And all of this, I mean, we moved a year ago next week. Wow. Yes, it's been a year.
You moved here about 3 weeks after we moved into this house. Easy to remember.
There we go. I'll
put it on my calendar so I remember to congratulate you in a year's time.
Thank you very much. I congratulate you too. And you have a beautiful home. And you know, we and it was, you know, it was a massive move.
Yeah, of course.
You know, for both of us, we'd always, like, you know, for 30. I met my husband at work, and we were both interns at the same time. Okay. And then we were colleagues long before we actually, you know, started going out and let alone, you know, got married and
being
started
romantically involved.
Exactly, being romantically involved. So it was So yeah, that was us, and then all of a sudden it's different here. It's very, very different. And it's taken a different pace of life, which is good, because that was one of the main reasons why we looked into buying in Jalora, because it was quieter than Singapore. And
Quiet. Two different colours. Are you kidding me?
As a former Jalorean, you understand. Yeah. And I love it there, and it's beautiful. But I'll be honest with you, it's too quiet for me. It does my head in. And there are days when it does my head in. And there are days when I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And mainly because the appeal has always been, as you're saying, it's just in contrast to. It is. It's like
you know, I find I'm not a extremely well-travelled young man, but I have done some travelling in my time. And I find the biggest thing, I'm very open and aware to, like, I feel like I see things people don't. I don't know, maybe.
That's great.
I feel like it's a superpower I don't talk about. That's why I conceptualize it in my mind. Like, Europe has a different frequency to the Middle East, to Asian countries, to, I think, even the east and west coast of Australia have different frequencies.
100%. Oh my God. Yeah, that I can definitely attest to. So,
and I can, like, feel it. I can see it, you know, and you can almost, like, pick when I can pick. My story is ridiculous. I moved here when I was 25 days after my 10th birthday. I'm 32 now. Oh, wow. So I've been here for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
12 years, is that right? 32, 10, 22 years.
Yes.
Right. So.
Where did you move from?
Everywhere up north.
Okay.
We lived everywhere up north. My dad was a manager of a transport yard. He was very good at it. So essentially he just got moved to where it needed to be opened or brought back up to speed.
Gotcha.
So we lived everywhere, and then we moved here. And my entire, like, adolescence and 20s was making really good friends that ended up moving. Everyone leaves Bunbury. If you are born and grow up here, you leave because it's too small. 40,000 people. There's not enough opportunity. I literally had a friend move to Perth because he said, you know, you can do things in Perth. You can shoot guns. I'm like, shoot guns? What are you
what are you talking about?
Right? And I knew these friends that I would make, because I feel like now I know I'm a big thinker. I'm thinking 40 steps ahead all the time. Good. The people that I hang out with are the same.
Yes.
And it's that frequency that you go, you're going to leave one day. Yes. You're going to go because your frequency is just a touch or more higher than here.
Right.
And it's going to drive you insane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And here's me just going, no, Bunbury has to raise to my frequency because I'm never leaving.
I like that.
You know?
Yes.
And I think if I piece together your experience, you're Egyptian, you've moved around heaps, you had children later than usual, which that has a reason of its own. You're a journalist, you've shared a lot of different perspectives and opinions, you've had to piece together, you've probably had to redefine yourself over and over and over with all this new information as you go through your life.
Yes.
And then you come here and then you're told to slow down.
Yep, you got it.
And it's almost heartbreaking because you're like, I'm so good at going fast, I don't want to go slow.
I don't know how to. And
it's a skill.
It is. It very much is a skill, and and part of it is sitting down. And there I am. I'm putting my hands, and it's called sitting on your hands.
And just
and it is a skill, and it's one that I am very, very slowly trying to work on.
It's the same skill as learning to sit down and read a book if you're not good at reading.
That's right.
Because halfway through that first page, you're like, I'll go for, oh no, I'm reading my book.
That's right, I'm reading my book.
And then you get to the second page, you're like, I'll mow the, no, I won't mow the lawn, I'm reading my book. But then you keep doing it day after day, and then like 3 weeks in, you read a quarter of a book in one sitting, and you're like, oh, I pretended to be a book reader, and now I'm a book reader.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And the same thing that brings you to the dance and moving fast is the same thing that takes you home from the dance moving slow.
That's right.
You know? But
it's interesting you say that, because I was talking to my therapist about it, and she was saying, you see, you've come from a life where you've been moving at 300 miles an hour, and you thought that from 300 miles an hour to going to 10 miles an hour was the solution. But it's almost like you hit the brakes so hard that stuff fell out. And I said, yes, actually, that's a very, very good analogy. And yes, stuff's fallen out.
Yeah.
I've lived in 8 different countries throughout my life.
Yeah.
And I've been an expat all my life. And a lot of expats, I can relate what you mean about making friends with people who leave. My friends are all over the world.
Yeah.
And
you know the problem is people like that always regenerate their character, and by the time you see them again, they're not your friend anymore.
Some of them do, and some of them don't. Yes, you're absolutely right. Some of them some of them were friends because you were in the same circumstances, and that was the right place to be, and you know you could relate on that level. But other people, and mind you, you'll find them. There are ties that bind, and usually they come along with children. So a lot of the people who have stayed in our life and are still part of our life have been people who we've gotten to know really well through our children.
Right.
Just because children are beautiful. They don't have filters. Not yet, you know. So you can tell a lot about someone by talking to their child.
Of course.
And because
the child is a projector of the home life.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely. And not only a projection of the home life, a projection of you as a person, because they live they don't know any other way to live other than how you've taught them to live. They don't know how to talk any other way other than how you've taught them to talk, right? So and they tend to just be themselves. And that's great. Because you're like, oh, okay, so you've got very good manners. That's a reflection of your upbringing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My most recent touch on that thought is how well mannered Jude was the other day.
Thank you.
I was like, it's upsetting. I feel bad swearing around this kid.
Trust me, I swear he swears. He swears more than I do. But they both know not to swear in front of mom.
As I walked him out the door, he stopped and came back and said goodbye to my fiance.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. And the thing is, I was brought up to address everyone in the room, say goodbye to everyone in the room.
Yes.
And now it's one of those things where I especially find it this is weird in baseball. What do you call it? Yeah, in baseball thing.
Yes.
That I make a special effort to talk to my mates' partners. You know, when you're at dinner or you're doing something, it's like, so what's going on with you? You know, I know everything about him. I fuck around with this dude all the time.
Exactly.
Tell me about you. What's going on with you? And then when you leave, you're like, hey, good to see you. Give him hey, good to see you as well. Give them a hug.
Yes.
And that's a skill that I'm consistently have to sharpen that sword, because I don't want them to, there's so many different elements to it. A, that's how I was raised. B, I don't want them thinking oh, that's just the way he is. He doesn't address women. He doesn't.
It makes such a difference as a partner, right? And as somebody now who, my social interactions tend to be, they're a lot more limited, and it does make a difference.
Yeah.
And the best thing you can do for anybody, it doesn't matter, male or female, whoever, is give them your focus, give them your attention. That's the best thing you can do to any human being, right? Just say, stop what you're doing in a world where we're all so busy. Everybody's so busy, right? And we all wear our busyness as a badge of honor. And oh my God, I'm so busy. I'm so sorry I didn't call you. I'm so busy. I'm so very sorry I didn't text. I didn't ask about you. I'm so busy. The best thing you can do for somebody is just stop there, look them straight in the face, and say, hey, how you going?
Yeah.
You okay? The Are You Okay movement. That's the whole point of the Are You Okay movement, right?
Yeah.
How you going? Is everything all right? And then really, really listen.
Yeah.
Really do it out of, the kindness of your heart and being genuine about it.
I think a lot of people, how are you? Yeah, good, buddy, flat out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a response there that when I say it, I'm telling the universe, give me more.
Yes.
Some people say it because they want to appear like everything's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are saying it because they're covering up the fact that they're heartbroken, or they're recovering, or they're hurt, or they don't know, or they're confused, or they're scared of the future. Mm-hmm. And then some people say it because one day they heard someone else say it and they're like, that sounds cool, I'm going to do that. And then they didn't question it for 15 years and now they're that person.
Yes.
And also they're always 5 minutes late. And also their car's always dirty. And also they never have time to, right?
Right.
Because they've manifested it in their life. They
Correct.
spelt to the universe, this is what I want. The universe gave it to them. And now they don't understand why there's so much shit in their life.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes.
The response, like you're saying, actually listen. Most of the time, people are telling you the answer to your question, not with the words that they're saying, but with the way they're saying it, right?
Absolutely.
And there's not anything crazy in that. But I think the older I get and the more I explore that, you know, like I've been picking up on what's it called?
Microaggressions?
Not microaggressions. It's like the instant response in someone's face when you ask them a question.
Right.
Micro mannerisms or something. And I first picked up on it in myself. I got this 6'5" mannequin that I moved the other day.
Right.
And I put it in the workshop.
Right.
And when I opened the garage door the other day, I'm like, what the? I didn't choose to do that.
Right.
My brain got scared before my body even moved. My brain was like, danger.
Yes.
And I was like, oh. So I start looking at it in people. Like when I walk in the room and I give them a, you know, compared to a, for no reason, it's
absolutely.
Like, oh, you are actually happy to see me. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What can we do here?
Right.
Ask him, how are you? I'm good. Instead of, don't hit him with it, how are you really? Because that's, no one cares.
No one cares. Yeah.
Follow up with it, I can see that. Well, actually, I knew it was actually, I felt that, but I wanted you to say it. You know, that whole dance that every communication that you have, like whether it's sales in the business, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's the girl taking my coffee order, whether it's a person you're walking past when you're walking the dog, like, oh, can our dog say hello?
Yes.
You know, you know if it's a yes or no by the way they look at you before you ask.
Absolutely.
You know?
And isn't it scary that in a world where we're becoming so much more reliant on devices and so much more reliant on that, and people looking down rather than looking up, that we're losing these skills? That these interpersonal skills you find them in a lot of young people who have been digital natives their entire life, right? And who they don't know how to interact with other human beings. They haven't been, you know, their interactions tend to be digital. And they don't know how to look up and talk to someone and, you know, look at them in the eye and say, hi, how are you? Is everything okay? Not being able to read these cues. You know, people actually ask AI about how to read facial cues.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's like, oh my God, is this the world that we've come to?
Yeah, I can play devil's advocate across the board there. What was the ultimate time? When were things at their peak? Like 1500s, 90s? 10 years ago?
Who knows? Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well,
because like when Henry Ford came out with the production line, all the farriers were like, what are we going to do?
True.
Like you go further back, you know, when they invented the wheel, all the people that made the boots are like, what do you mean they're going to sit in a cart?
Exactly.
Right? And also when they were talking like, doth shall, how are you, whatever. And now we're like, how are you, mate? Bloody good to see you. And then it turns into just memes and emojis on a text message. At what point was it perfect?
Not perfection. We're not, I don't believe in perfection. Progress is progress, right? And there's always been, I don't think perfection is not a goal because you're never going to reach it, because there's always going to be something else. There's always going to be something more. And if you are constantly searching for that, you will be bitter, disappointed, and discontent your entire life. And what a waste of life, right? So the best thing to do is what you were talking about earlier. How can I be the better version of myself? How can I improve? Even if it's just one, I don't know. Even if it's just, hey, I don't feel like waking up today morning. I'm really tired. There's a lot going on. But you know what? I will. I'm going to get out of bed. I might not get out of my pajamas, but at least I'm going to get out of bed. That's progress. And that's good.
I think even the conversation with yourself, like, could I be better?
100%.
A lot of people don't even realize that I thought about it and it was too hard. And I put my joggers on and I got to the door and I turned around and went back inside. It's like, cool.
That's okay.
That's all right. I know you're looking at my Strava going, I want to be Jake.
Yeah.
But trust me, Jake failed so much more than what you can imagine to get to the point that he's Jake.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I've shared this. I sound like just the biggest motivational douche at the moment, but I shared this I shared this thing the other day, and it was like, don't compare yourself to me now I'm winning, because you're not comparing yourself to the version of me that lost 1,000 times before this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I've hit that 5-year mark where I've been in business.
Good on you.
In this iteration of business, and it's not just still alive, like it's working.
Yes.
And now I feel like I've got a different perspective in other people's eyes, and you almost want to like I don't fucking care about what other people think, but also I make sure that my hair is cut correctly before I get on a podcast, right? So there's a little bit of ego there. There's a little bit of
Absolutely.
let's protect the image to a certain extent. But when I have like other business owners, and when I have Jude reach out, and I've got another young bloke coming for work experience, and I do guest speaking for these different organizations and that, and I feel like there is, as much as like the motivational, entrepreneurial, guru, whatever you want to call it, has been hijacked by people trying to monetize it in disgusting ways. There's definitely something to it.
100%.
There's something to like. I definitely like. I have a bunch of motivational quotes that people, mentors, the internet, books, that live in my head. And it's like, yeah, I might have something cool to add to that list.
100%. It's called, along with ambition, the other thing that we need more of, right, is role models.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I told you this before. And, we're talking about us at the Pilates class. It is incredible that there are role models, people like you, to inspire people like my son, right? And he has something to look forward to. And your generosity in sharing your knowledge and sharing your time and sharing your failure as well, and being honest about it and saying, hey, mate, don't I might be doing good now, but once upon a time I was doing really badly. So, but then you work hard and you do this and you do that, and that's inspiring, and that helps build, and that helps all of these combined go towards what we're talking about. This is what pushes progress along. And without one or the other, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to find that. And maybe that's why you were talking about your friends. Maybe that's what they feel they need to do when they go to another place. Find more role models. Find more people who are on that wavelength that you were talking about. People who get them or who can inspire them.
I think there's a really tough conversation to have. I always try and stay really societal in my like points of view, and I don't think that's the best way to like say it. But I try and stay general for relatability and being able to communicate whatever message it is that we're trying to dissect here. Because I don't know, like I know my message, but I don't know the message.
Maybe there isn't one.
Yeah, but I got to pretend like there is.
Okay.
Right? Because by pretending like there is, we get closer to finding out if there is.
Fair enough. Okay.
Right? Because if we just go, there's not, then it's like, then why? Why? Then I'll just do this and walk into the ocean, right? I know I'm being very vague. Stick with me. So I try and keep a really like neutral, platonic, even like, politically, I have mayor candidates and the mayor and so I have interesting people on the podcast, and even then I just go like, tell me why I should vote for you. I'm not going to tell you if I will or not.
Yeah.
Right? But just tell me why I should vote for you.
Absolutely.
And that same, let's use that as a metaphor, like I'm not going to sit here and say, you know what you need to do is write your goals down, all of them, and then you need to reverse engineer the steps between now and 5 years from now and do step one. Because I know that's how it works for me.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But at some point I have to like, and I've had this conversation in many different ways on this podcast, what's the difference between me and Jude? What's the difference between Jude and the kid who looks at Jude like, man, he's got it? And what's the difference between me looking at Daniel Bradshaw, who owns Street X up in Perth, and going, he's got it?
Yes.
And what's the difference between me and Ryan Youngman, who owns all the world gyms? And what's the difference between me and Daniel O'Connor, who owns ProTune? Like, what's the difference? And what's the difference between me and the person who doesn't care about any of this?
Ambition.
Is it innate? Is it learned? Where does it come from? Is it a God-given gift?
I think.
By the way, that's it. That question, that's a lot of the body of it. That is what I'm talking about. Because if it's a God-given gift, okay, sorry everyone else, I'm a winner. I got to keep winning. But what I believe is that I'm a product of being moved around 100 times before I was 10.
Yes.
I'm a product of being an athlete before I was 18.
Yes.
I'm a product of having a failed business venture before this. I'm a product of being stuck in a truck cab for 2 years, wishing I wasn't driving trucks. I'm a product of having my heart broken 6 times. I'm a product of being so far in debt for vehicles that I don't care about. I'm a product of failure. I'm a product of all of this.
Yes.
So you go, all right, if that's the case, then why don't these young kids go out and hurry up and fail?
Because we don't allow them to. Because we've attached so much stigma to failure, and we have made it into a bad, bad thing. Look at my son as an example. My son was failing school. And his life was over. So, he was failing school in Singapore, and that's it. School was like, oh my God, he's failing school. It's over. His life is over. They managed to convince me that my son was worth little. I wouldn't say worth less, but they had very little value, right? Just because he was failing school. I was like, hang on, no, this is wrong. But that's the whole. But that's just one example, one slice of life of society, and it's like, so there's more to life than doing good at school.
Yeah.
Right. It's not the end of the world. So. There we go. That's one example of how we've demonized failure.
Yeah, and the participation stuff as well.
The participation stuff. Basically, everybody, oh, well done, good job. Well, why have they done a good job? Oh, no, we got to make it, we can't praise, little Jack too much because, it'll make...
Then Jack might be a bigger winner.
It'll make, exactly. Jack won, but, it'll make little Holly feel bad because she didn't work, she didn't win. Yeah, but Jack won fair and square, and, Holly didn't put in as much effort. So what's wrong with that?
I don't know. You know what's cool about... So do you know I used to be a speed skater?
No, I didn't know that. I was going to ask about the athlete. Okay.
So, yeah, I was a inline speed skater.
Oh, my God. That's so cool.
Started I started skating in a rink the week we got to Bunbury, essentially, when I was 10.
Okay.
Oh, no. Within the first couple months. Because we moved here in December, went to school in January. My first friend he went to the rink. He's like, you should come to the rink on Saturday. And then from then till about 16, I was at the rink every day. And I ended up, I was on the Australian team, moved to Europe, spent a year in Europe.
That is so cool.
Crazy. Crazy. And you know the really cool thing about speed skating?
What?
If you cross the line first, you win.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. There's a few other rules, like you're not allowed to trip people, ish. You're not allowed to, cut the corners. You're not allowed to start before the gun goes.
But that's the way it is with all sports.
But if you get over the line first, you're the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like running. It's like doing athletics. It's like any sport out there.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
If your team scores more points than the other, if it gets the ball through the things more so than the other, you win.
Yes.
And do you know where there's no participation trophies? In business.
100%. And there shouldn't be participation trophies in
business.
business.
There's no participation trophies in relationships.
Absolutely not.
There's none in personal development.
No.
It's very simple. If you want the girl that everyone wants as a guy, be more valuable.
Yes.
Be the most valuable.
Exactly.
You can be funny, you can be, fit, you can do, or you can make the most amount of money. You can drive the nicest car. You can be the person who's the most magnetic to be around. You can be the person who has the most information to offer. You can be the one who shuts up and listens or speaks up and talks. You can be the one if you choose to be.
Yes.
It makes you the first over the line.
Yes.
It's that simple.
Yes.
Yes. And it's such a, like going back to, well, what is that? What is that thing? I was always born to be tall. I always had that on my side.
Absolutely.
I wasn't always born to be in business or to be an athlete
No.
or to want to keep growing or to want to learn how to read or to...
Ambition.
Right. So how do we
cultivate ambition?
Yeah.
And cultivate ambition. Interesting that you mentioned failure, because that's one thing that we need to work on. We need to start to, inoculate people against failure, essentially. So what? You stuffed up. So what? Doesn't matter. You failed. Okay, next, move on. Who was it? It was Thomas Edison. How many times did he stuff up the light bulb?
Yeah, thousands.
How many times did any of these famous inventors whose name, and sorry, forget the inventors, there were people before them who actually failed so long, and then they gave up. And then you know the guys whose history remembers their name are the guys who picked up where these guys failed.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, okay, come on, let me tinker and fail a bit more and fail a bit more.
Yeah.
And oh my God, wow, I managed to do it. History is written by the winners.
Yeah.
History is written by winners.
Yeah.
Right? History is written by the victor. Always. And we have to always remember that. So, do you want your name in history? You got to win, because you got to be able to write it, and you got to be able to say, "Hello, I'm the one who won." So, yeah, let's normalize failure. Let's normalize stuffing up. It's okay it's okay to get it wrong.
Yeah.
It's okay to say, "Oh, okay, I took a decision. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure about it now. I made an investment. Oh dear. How many? I mean, I don't know about you, but how many times have you put money into something and you're like, oh, sure. I'm not talking betting. I'm talking about like proper investment. You know, you've invested money into something, and it failed. I put money in a little company that was doing ugly fruit and vegetables over on the east side in the East Coast, and I was convinced that they were going to do well. It wasn't a lot of money, and then I was and you know, it kind of fits in with my idea of, you know, not wasting food. I hate wasting food. I hate throwing away produce and all of this. 2 years, they went bankrupt. Haven't gotten a cent back. I said, oh well, I learned.
Yeah.
You know, moving on. Is that going to stop me from trying to, trying to look into other investments? No. Well,
I think you can replace the words in there. So what's something that I've put money into, which you don't even amount, and it's been a bad return?
Yeah.
Me? Do you know how much, like, I bought $15,000 worth of stock for an event once, and on the 2 days of the event, I sold $180 worth of stuff. That's before paying the guys to be there. That's before paying for the entry. That's before $15,000 of stock.
Yeah.
That's a bad investment.
That is a bad investment.
Great lesson.
Yeah.
Great lesson. But as far as an investment goes, like, buddy, let's not do that again.
Yes.
Even if they guarantee that you can sell 15,000, maybe next time, put their money on the line, not yours.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So it's like that. Even like what I'm saying there is that analogy of how do you like, because I do it confidently now. How do you look at the thing that go, well, what's part of me that I don't like? I don't like that I'm not social. Let's use that. Okay.
I find that very hard to believe.
No, it's just, I'm awesome at being social. I'm just
I
using
was just going to say, you're using that example. Okay,
but
good.
No, that's a relatable thing for most people, because they're so used to this that they don't have to be social in real life, and then all of a sudden their friends invite them out for dinner and they're fucking pissing their pants because they don't know what to do when I don't know what to do with my hand. What do we talk like, brother?
Yes.
You'll figure it out when you're there. Just get there first.
Just get there first. Exactly.
But if you go, all right, fuck it, I want to be better. I want to be able to have dinners.
Yes.
I want to do that. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to invest the potential embarrassment, awkwardness, uncomfortability, and go all the way. I'm going to invest all of that into the potential experience that I can have.
Yes.
And then if it doesn't work, I'll pay the bill.
It doesn't work. So one of the things that, one of the ways that kind of got me through. So in a way, I'm a product of all the different places I've lived in and all the different, jobs that I've done and all the different, stories that I've worked on and all of this. And one of the goodness gracious me, I wouldn't call it a principle, but one of the ways that I've perspectives. Thank you. One of the perspectives that I've always had, and for ever since I was young, has always been, what's the worst case scenario? What do I got to lose?
Yeah.
Right. And I will worst case scenario things. And then, it kind of, being with my husband, and we sort of worst case scenario things. Right. And, but I used to do it before that. It's like, what's the worst case scenario? They say no. What's the worst case scenario? I'm applying for jobs. I need something to do. I feel I'm becoming more stupid by the day. So
terrible fear to have.
Terrible. I'm telling you. And so, I'm like, and I'm applying for jobs where I know that I'm not an automatic fit, because one of the realizations that of my 51 years on the planet have given me is that I don't really fit anywhere. And so I sort of stopped trying. And it took a while, it took a long time to stop trying. So I stopped trying. I'm like, okay, I'll try and, I don't need to fit. I'll try and find complementary, kind of work with what I've got.
Be somewhat malleable to the situation.
Yeah. And then I'm applying for these jobs where my CV is like, if anybody were to like look at my work experience has been, I've worked for one employer for 30 years. I have worked in so many different parts of the world doing, on field reporting, doing editing. I spent 7 years doing training and coaching, and for journalism as well.
Yeah.
And editing, publishing, editing, and all of this. So
is this written journalism or video journalism?
Written. Wow. And I'm not. I don't have that much experience doing video. I can look at it and tell you, but actually using the actual devices, I haven't done that. I'm sure I can learn. But it's all of that, and all of that has given. If you look at it, job. It's not, it's just one field, one area. However, have to do all of these jobs in all of these different places and all of these places. I mean, going into a war zone, just essentially a lot of the times was, I'd be called, or I'd be in the office and they say, oh, there's been an attack, go. Oh, okay, lovely. So just usually with my handbag, with my passport and wow. Whatever it is, and I'd get jet set it off to a place where I'd never been to before, and had to, okay, go. Report, find out what's going on, do this, do that. You develop a lot of skills, and a lot of skills, a lot of interpersonal skills, a lot of investigative skills, a lot of reading people, knowing
like international street smarts.
Yeah, knowing how to navigate play, knowing how to get people to talk to you, knowing how to get people who you've never ever met in your life, who have sometimes speak a different language. Yeah. Right? To talk to you and to tell you what's going on. And all of that, it does. You learn so much that doesn't necessarily it's not reflected in the different roles that you've done. So, and what were we talking about? We're talking about the what is it that helps build people? What is it that helps build that ambition? One of the things that does, by throwing yourself out there and kind of saying, what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is, sometimes the worst case scenario was, I wasn't going to get the story. Didn't usually happen. Sometimes the worst case scenario was, unfortunately, it happened to my colleagues, was you got shot, hurt, killed. That's a bad worst case scenario. But that was also something that you had to think about before you put your hand up and saying, right, sure, I'll go to the front line. I'm okay with going to the front line. And it's just having that in the back of your head and being aware that there's a consequence. And maybe not, accepting accepting whatever will come. If it works your way, great. If it doesn't work your way, well, okay. Well, at least I gave it a shot. Right?
100%.
Like I'm applying for all these jobs where I know that any hiring manager will look at my CV and say, what the hell is she applying for a job that doesn't, I know I can do it. It's not like I can. But it doesn't fit into the box. Yeah. But again, I say, well, what's the worst case scenario? They're going to turn around and say, you don't fit in the box.
You don't hear from them.
I don't hear from them.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
I think the worst case scenario thing, I've done that very consciously my entire life as well.
Yeah.
And the only time that you don't, especially if it like makes your heart beat faster, the only time you don't listen to that is if the worst case scenario is I die or I waste my life doing it.
Wasting your life doing something is honestly sometimes worse than death.
Yeah. It is. It's bad to do it for 6 months, let alone your whole life. You know, I was I'm getting very, very, very vulnerable talking about this because it's a very fresh thought. I used to do creative writing almost every day.
Beautiful.
For most of my teenage years and into my 20s. I really only stopped in the past 3 or 4 years where it turned into more like reflection and record taking of every day in business. So I can sort of look back and go, oh, this is when I was struggling to pay rent. This is when that sort of thing. And I found some creative writing yesterday and I was reading it and I was like, so I was very romantic as a young man.
So lovely.
And now I'm just fucking cold. I'm cold now, you know? And there's two branches here. The first branch is I asked myself, was I very empty or very full at that age? Was there nothing going on and I was aspiring to be this romantic, tortured soul of a experience taker, having my heart broken, breaking other people's hearts? Was I that? Or was I actually so full of love to give that I was truly experiencing something and I just had the ability to, what's the word when you can actually articulate it? Was I experiencing that and I could actually articulate it, right? Which is question number one.
Yes.
Question number two is, if I was so full that I was having these experiences and I was just given God's gift to articulate it pen to paper. And I read it as like, dude, shut up when I'm reading it. But I know also from the other point of view, it's good writing.
I'm sure it is.
It's good writing.
I'm sure it is.
Right?
Yeah.
I wonder if I was sort of playing in my early 20s. I had one very bad year-long experience that shut me down so hard that now I have a really good person in my life that I'm engaged to, that I love wholly and solely, that I do everything for, that I commit every part of me that I possibly can to making her life the best as possible, but I just can't be romantic about it. You go, did someone kill that in me? You know?
I hope not. I don't think so.
Relating this back to what we're talking about, my worst case scenario was like when I was debating, like, I'm 6 months into this seemingly horrible situation. Do I stay here? Fuck it, I'll give it another month. Fuck it, I'll give it another month. I'll give it another month. And you get to the end, you go, what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is one day I'm 60 and I wasted my life.
Yes.
Trying to be something that I'm not.
Yes.
Trying to fit into a box that was never going to accept me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then when I sort of looked at it like that, I was like, oh, there is no other decision to be made.
Yeah, I got to go. I got to go. Yes.
I literally didn't even get my stuff. I just left, you know?
You also bring, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that.
And now everyone knows. Crazy.
And I think you're very brave. And I think you're very self-aware. And I think that what you're, again, going back to this issue of role model, and I think, and thank you for sharing out there, because you will be surprised at the number of people who are probably in the same situation who have no idea what to do. And maybe hopefully by hearing your story, that will inspire them to do something else. So again, along with the ambition, the role model part is very, very important in helping people. And you also said something very, very interesting about boxes. So you and I don't like boxes. I hate boxes. You know, growing up, it didn't really bother me. I grew up as an expat, you know, and you know, surrounded by other expats. No one really fit into a box. We kind of all, you know, it was the way it was. And then I raised my children the same way. My children don't fit into boxes either. And accepting that is important, and making other people realize that they don't need to conform is also very, very important, because that helps to set you free, and it helps you to turn around and say, well, just because I've lived all my life in Bunbury, you know, this small city of 40,000 people, doesn't mean that I can't have global ambitions. Just because, it doesn't, people like me should not be limited by what people like me have historically done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the way it's always been is just a saying.
Yeah. The way, and I think that's also, and in addition to inoculating people to failure, I also think we need to help people accept that they're different. And it's so hard nowadays for young people, and I see that with my children, that because of social media, because of the way society is structured, and because it's easier, when people conform, they're easier to roll, and they're easier to it's homogeneity is lovely, and especially homogeneity I add to that a little bit of lack of education and lack of awareness, then it's a perfect combination for governments.
It's a perfect combination for employers
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
All I need you to do is rock up at 8:30, do your job, and then have lunch, and then do your job and go home.
Perfect. And then you don't really ask. Then you're not ambitious. Then you don't want my job. Then you don't want to, and it's great. Also, it's great in our and please, I don't want to come across as I'm dissing AI. I think AI is fantastic. AI is a great tool. It'll make our lives so much easier. But we have to regard it as a tool and not as a replacement of people. And that's my concern. My concern is that a lot of the approach that a lot of people and a lot of companies are taking is that they're regarding it as a replacement of our what makes us human, which is our ability to interact, our ability to to have a little common sense.
You know the saying, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail? So that applies to AI, but everything is a nail.
You're absolutely right.
Because you can ask AI, what's a microaggression? What's a micromannerism? What does that mean? Can you show me examples? Okay. You can also ask AI, how do I connect my Shopify to my Airtable using a Zapier?
Exactly.
And can you write the code for me and tell me what the formula is? And can you step by step, can you explain it to me like I'm 5?
Yes.
And also, I'm trying to explain this to the other people in my team. Can you explain to them what all this means?
Yes.
Also, here's a picture of my fridge and it's not getting cold. What model is it and how can I troubleshoot it?
Exactly.
And Dad wrote this to me in a message. How can I respond to this appearing this way?
Yes.
AI does all of it. Everything is a nail.
Yes.
Everything's a nail.
Yes.
And I think you're right, it's a tool, but it's actually, instead of being one tool in the workshop, it's actually the workshop.
It is. Yes, that's it. That's it. So, and this whole conformity, this whole idea of, we all have to fit into the AI box. Otherwise, we all have to kind of look at it, again, homogeneous, not stick out. Don't be a nail, not stick out. Be the same. Just do what everybody else does. Dress like everybody else. Do this. And the more we normalize things, the more we're going to, the more we're stripping people away. We're stripping people away from what makes them special.
Yeah. When I was a teenager, baggy jeans were cool.
They're back now.
There's a difference.
When
I was a teenager, Fubu made a pair, Dada made a pair, and they actually had multiple pairs from each brand. And then you had like Rip Curl Billabong did a pair, and then Kmart did pairs.
Yes.
Now baggy jeans are back.
Yes.
Everybody wears the same rusty baggy jeans. Just rusty. Same color. And they all wear the same fill in the blank Vans.
Yep.
And they all wear the same
sweatshirt,
rusty shirt with the ringer neckline and arm lines. So it's gone from like you want to conform to now you want to conform so much that you don't even want a variation of conformity.
Right.
Is it stylish, or is it the human experience being saturated down or diluted down to, no, you get the white Converse with the black stripe. You get the dark blue baggy jeans with the yellow stripe down the side.
Right.
You get the white shirt with the blue features, right? And then you get these kids who the only form of individuality they have is what shitty bowl cut have they got. And then you look and you're like, it's still all just a bowl cut, guys.
It is. Or a mullet.
Or a mullet. Or a mullet with a bowl cut.
Yes.
which I sort of think I have at the moment, given my short fringe. But it's such a, like, part of me looks at that and goes like, when I was a kid, I was doing everything I could to not wear the shit everyone else was wearing.
Exactly.
I don't understand.
Exactly. I want to look different. I don't care. I do. I want to look different. I want to, and
it doesn't.
It has its place. It has its place. This, but it's considered fringe, right? So where a lot of the events that you end up going to in Perth, they're fringe, right? They're they have some fashion events. As you know, it's into fashion and rap. He was at an event for a local rapper called Male yesterday.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and that's a local. Sorry, it's in WA. He's up in Perth, and and it. You see these kids, and yes, they're all wearing. They have got their own different clothes, and they have their own different styles, and they have their own different this, and they are not different that, which is good. But that's kind of fringe versus mainstream, and even in the fringe, there are people who want to be typical fringe. They want to conform to the fringe as well.
100%.
So we need to celebrate individuality more.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful sentiment, right? I think that then ties into the acceptance of, like, right now, apologies, Kai, I don't like the fringe, right? But also, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
If you like the fringe or you don't like the fringe, it doesn't change me.
No.
Right? And also, if you
don't
like the fringe and we're going to class it as a failure, I'm busy.
Yeah.
That failure means nothing,
Yeah.
And like that individuality of, like, I remember I've got this like standout example in my teenage years. I bought these Converse and I've been a size 10, 11, 12 foot basically my whole adult life since I was 15.
You're a tall man,
right?
yes.
And a size 12 Converse, Converse typically, Vans sort of have more of a round shape to them. Converse are a long straight.
Yes.
So when you get a size 12 Converse red, it's a Ronald McDonald shoe. You know what I mean? It may as well be bulbous at the end at that point because it's comically big.
Right.
It doesn't matter how tall you are. You're a forklift at the bottom with these shoes. And I remember I wore them once.
Oh, wow.
I wore them once. They were so big I could see them in my peripheral when I looked slightly up. I could still see them. I'm like, these are too big.
Yes.
This is a failure.
Yes. Yes.
And you learn, like, I'm never going to wear big coloured shoes again. And I literally got out of that trap about a year ago, right? I've worn black shoes.
Right.
Either all black shoes or Vans, which are black and white.
Right.
My entire adult life because of that moment, But I still kept taking risks after that.
Right.
I still wore the super tight white pants. I still wore the crazy colourful zip-up jacket.
Yes.
I still did the blonde dreadlocks. I still did the, dyeing half of my hair pink. Like, I still did all of that. Like, you still shoot from the hip expecting that people aren't going to be happy with it. And sort of the motivation is that you sort of don't want everyone to be happy with it. That's kind of the point, right? I want you to question you with the way I do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's sort of lost. Like, that's lost. Like this, and I get it because, I forget what the metaphor was before. Also, this is just to loop back. The frequency thing, you moving here and feeling like you're on a bit crazy, is the same experience as getting sober from cocaine.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
I've not done drugs.
Well, I haven't had a problem with cocaine, but I have had sobriety issues with other things.
Right.
And I know the effect of cocaine, and it is very much so living at such an accelerated frequency for so long and then stopping, you lose meaning in other parts of your life because nothing gives you the same feeling of accelerated frequency.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And this is why risk takers, such as myself, I'm happy to do wheelies on motorbikes in traffic.
Yes.
Because it gives you that feeling that you acclimatise yourself to.
Yes. And
then you come home and your missus is upset why you don't want to sit on the couch and talk about things. You're like, because this is boring.
Right. Exactly.
And that's not exactly my experience, but that's a good...
it's a good analogy.
Right?
Yes, it is a good analogy.
And that's like...
Very interesting. Thank you.
That's a heightened example of what you're experiencing, I think, because you're trying to get sober from living a life where you could get shot at in your job.
Yeah, I kind of stopped doing that.
But as
Yes.
As you're talking about,
It was definitely fast. It was definitely fast. Yeah. No, for the past, since the children were born, since my daughter was born, so 2005, so 20 years now. And 2005, I got out of field reporting.
Right.
Because I didn't think it was fair.
The high frequency of living in Singapore compared to Europe, that was it. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So going back to what I was talking about, the taking risks. So if you're constantly, as a child, you're Jude's age, you've essentially experienced most of life as far as culture and fashion behind a screen, right? Let's say that you're not on the fringe influences. You're not looking for the unique, which he does. Let's say you're not doing that. So all of your inspiration and motivation comes from conforming influences. Correct. Like, I've got the Frank Green or whatever it is bottle, and I wear the same nude color makeup as whatever, and I wear the same Converse as everyone, and I am the cutout person of who everyone wants to be. I'm just the best possible perspective angle of it. Why would you try and stand out? Why would you wear the red Converses?
Yeah, that's true.
Why would you do the blonde dreads? Yes. You know that ain't it. She's it.
Yes.
I'm going to try to do that.
Yes.
Because everyone's trying to do that. I want to be in that race.
Yes.
Right? I want to cross the line first with that. And it's like, I think that's part of the death of individuality is
creativity. And this is the thing. So how do we create, right? We create by, it's very hard to create. And this is what I tell Jude as well because of his art. He's very expressionistic in his art. And I don't know if she showed you any of his paintings, but they're I look at them and I'm like, son, I worry about the content of your mind. They're very, very expressionist. Think German expressionism type, but kind of more modern. So quite dark. And but then he draws, other things like he has an oil painting of a cat on a cross, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'm like, why? And he's like, why not? Yeah. Because a lot of the times I like to see the reaction that people, I do these because they come in my mind, and then I want to see how other people react with them. And for me, that's part of the art. That's part of the artistic experience. I say, okay.
That's very interesting.
And I was saying, right, so it's very, very different to what is considered fine art. Yeah. Yet it's art, and very much so. And it reminded me because he's applying to uni, and part of it is he's applying to get into design or art. And his art teacher was like, look at art history as well. And he's like, well, I'm worried that art history. I said, no, you have to move forward. You need to look back, right? You really and we don't spend enough time looking back. We don't spend enough time reading history. We don't spend, honestly, in my extremely, extremely humble opinion, a lot of what's going on in the world now has happened so many times before. And, and if we were smart, we'd actually learn from the lessons of history and apply them to the ones we are now. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, Anyway, yada, yada, yada. So I told you, sometimes you have to, there is no right or wrong. You got to break the mold. Look at Picasso. Picasso started out. He was part of it's part of the same traditional movement of artists. He painted things that looked like everything else, right? Everybody else did a bit of impressionism. Then he woke up one day and was like, nah, that's not how I see the world. I see the world in cubism. I see the world in boxes and angular shapes and distorted from reality. And that's my vision. And I'm going to put it out there. And once he did put it out there, my God, people were like, oh my God, what is this?
What is this? Yeah.
What is this? We have no idea what this is. What is this? Oh my God, shock horror. And then he inspired other people. And then that inspired other people. And he did that by allowing the world to see the contents of his mind.
Yeah.
And that helped. And now we look back and say, oh my God, that was a defining moment in artistic history.
Yeah.
And he did that by not conforming. And he did that by having the courage and the confidence I basically say, screw it.
I think there's a modern version of that. I think it's Kanye. Hey,
to a certain extent, except
I think the shit we don't understand is what we don't understand. I think the things that you're like, oh, what the? I think that's the stuff that most likely culture will look back on. Probably not in the too distant future, because I feel like the human experience is accelerated the longer it goes on.
Yes.
Like we're experiencing more in a year than what our ancestors did in a lifetime.
We've pressed the fast forward button.
Right.
We have.
And I think you'll find that, yeah, fuck it. Let's talk about it. Like the AI generated speeches of Hitler
Yep.
to English with the same emotion and the same tone and inflection. It's interesting listening to that and then hearing what Kanye has to say.
Yes.
It's very interesting. I'm not saying for all of my future ambition to be in part of politics, I'm not taking any sides. I'm saying neutral to this, but it is very interesting to go, why would Kanye throw himself under all of the buses at once? And aside from that, very interesting what Hitler was saying in these speeches before he did absolutely inhumane and disgusting things. I don't think
Of course.
the juice was not worth the squeeze in that.
No.
Or juice is too close to Jews. That was probably inappropriate. Let's not.
Let's not go there.
I'm really trying to obviously protect myself here. And I don't think that, what he did was correct. I'm just saying that feels like the sensible part of me. The more I blur my eyes and zoom out of that, it's like, what does he know? Because all I know, as you said, is what the winners wrote in history. That's
Correct.
all I know.
Correct.
So what if it was different? What if it was something else? And what if now that we have access to this technology that allows us to perceive what he was saying in those moments, and I'm not saying I've listened to all of them, I'm saying I listened to a stupid 45-second snippet on Instagram that I came across. I wasn't looking for it.
Which I would be very, very mindful of the veracity of and the accuracy and the sourcing.
Right.
And all of
So
that.
let's just use that structure of understanding that I don't know what I don't know.
Yes.
Right?
And it is so difficult now in a sea and morass, it's not of misinformation and disinformation, to know exactly what is real and what is not, and what is and what isn't, and what it is that you know and what it is you don't know. And it is exhausting. It is absolutely exhausting, where there are no institutions that you can trust anymore.
Yeah.
And you've got the big companies, Facebook, Google, all of these, they're like, it's not my problem. All right, well, it's not your problem. And the governments are like, well, we freedom of speech, we can't regulate this. Not our problem. Okay, great. And whose problem is it?
Whoa. Let me stop you right there. Did you know that today's podcast is proudly brought to you by BLXCK INK? I've just dropped 6 brand new teas that are a fusion between loving the town that we live in, which is Bunbury, and of course the brand BLXCK INK. You can find all of them on www.blackink.com.au. Link is in the description below. And don't forget that every t-shirt that you purchase, love, and wear is supporting the podcast. So if you love this podcast, support it by buying a t-shirt. Anyway, back to the pod.
Then whose problem is it that you've got, unfortunately, unfiltered access to what is essentially a sewage pipe? And these children, so you and I, let's say we're educated. We can sort of say, hang on, this isn't quite right. There's something about this that's a little wrong, might be bad. But what about the kids? What about the kids who don't know any better? Because this is what they've grown up with. They don't know. They have no alternative. They have no other perspective.
Yeah.
And then they listen to this, and then some of them take their own lives because of it. And while, yes, thank God it's not the norm, but it happens. And then we turn around and say, okay, so how can we stop this from happening again? TikTok turns around, or Facebook turns around, or whatever turns around and says, Roblox turns around, and like, not my problem.
Yeah,
what are we going to do?
It's not my kid.
It's not my kid. It's not my problem.
I think, the weird part about all this is, my experience growing up, You watch 9/11 happen, and you're like, oh, it's those guys did it to these guys. And then, realistically, when I look at it, I was like a little conspiracy theorist nut before it was cool, and I was like, oh, maybe, I don't know what it was, but maybe it wasn't that. And then fast forward all the way to having Black Ink and Outfit Co. And then there is a through line here, by the way. The way that I make sure that Larissa gets what she wants is I get good at marketing. To get good at marketing, I emotionally make you feel like you need my product based off the outcome and how I can make you feel if you do your shopping with me. And then I look at how I learned how to market and how I create these ads and creatives to incentivize people to give me their money and trust me. And then I look at the consistency between that and journalism when it's not even about the story, it's about your attention.
Yes.
And then you go, oh, okay, let's tie that into the fact that if I can keep people saturated with things to upset them emotionally or make them feel away emotionally, like, oh, here's a story about someone winning the lottery and donating it to the dog foundation, or here's a story about this person who you hate doing something abominable to someone else that you don't like. Oh, yeah, no, right? Well, we're not in... I mean, I think the world is and isn't as bad as what it's marketed as.
No, it's not.
Right?
Oh, my goodness. No, it's not. The world is not... What makes news? News is something that is out of the norm. It is unusual. And somewhere along the way, we've forgotten about that. We've forgotten that news is what is not normal. The fact that, you and I, the fact that I drove down the bustle today to come and sit here and talk to you and have this podcast is not news, because this is a normal day for you. It's a normal, it's an abnormal day for me. But just driving down the highway, that doesn't make news. The old adage, they say, dog bites man, dogs bite people all the time. But if man bites dog, that's news.
Interesting.
Right, that's interesting. It's something that is unusual. Somewhere along the way, then that's the thing with information, with the floodgates, with the pipe, whatever it is you want to call it. Let's call it a floodgate, because it's not all horrible and sewagey. Excuse me. So you've opened the floodgates, and then there's so much out there. Sorry. There's so much out there, and we're swimming in it. And yes, how do I attract your attention? I attract your attention by making it as, in some cases, salacious or scandalous, or as it pops out something that is extra unusual. And but of course, the world doesn't like that. Even in the worst of places, right, where you've got the worst of attacks, 9/11. Let's go back to 9/11, or going back to some of the bombings that I had to cover, right? You go there and you'd count, you'd focus on the carnage, because that's what made the news. But alongside all the carnage, there were the helpers. There were the people who were there to help. There were the people who saved. There were the people who resuscitated. There were the people who were just there to give water, to be there, to support. And many times in my career, I've benefited from the helpers, right? There have been times when I've been in situations where it hasn't been pleasant. There have been military stuff going on outside, and people have sheltered me in their homes. They've opened their doors and said, "Come in. There's a gun battle going on outside. You shouldn't be out there. Come in." There have been people who, we've been in situations in blockades where they've taken me in, sat me down with their family and their children, and shared one piece of bread and a bit of cheese between us. And I said, no, it's okay. Please feed your family. And they're like, well, you're going to need to eat too. Please eat with us. Stay with us. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't make headlines.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. The world is definitely not as bad as it's marketed. There are many, many good people. There still is goodness. There still is kindness.
100%.
There still is positivity and all of that. It's just being able to step away from the floodgates, from being, just being inundated by all of this.
Yeah, I talk to my nana on the phone, and every time I talk to her on the phone, she tells me about a new thing that's been on the news lately. And,
Is a lot of it wrong?
God bless her. I'm not going to stop her from watching the news, right? Because that's her thing. And she lives in Victoria. She doesn't have me there to hang out with her, so it's her hobby, right? But you'd sort of want to be like, hey, you've been alive for, 100 years or whatever. Has life changed?
I'm sure it has.
But what I'm saying is like, have the bombs landed on your door?
No.
You can still get bread and milk?
Yes.
You still go to church on Sunday?
Yes.
What happens when you stop watching the news? You don't have exposure to these negative things.
Correct.
You don't think about it. You don't have heightened cortisol for no reason at all.
True.
The reason why you've always got something to talk about is because the news realizes that the listenership, the viewer, the numbers is based on the extremism. The extremism is what we're now looking for. And again, dog bites man. Who cares?
Yes, man bites dog.
And I think we started this with, I think the world is and isn't as bad as what people perceive it. I think it's not as bad as what the news makes it out to be.
Absolutely.
You turn on and Noel Running's like, today, we're fucking whatever he says. I don't like the guy. But the reality is the badness of the world is so intertwined into everything else that people are truly blind to it, to a point when you tell them to their face and like, that's not what's going on. It's like, oh, you're a product of it. You're a product of it. You don't even get how powerful you are as a human because you've been so drained of your learning potential, your critical thinking, your ability to see the world with your eyes closed, that you think life is about owning a jet ski. That's the real bad thing about what the human experience is.
The lack of critical thinking is another. We can add that to what have we got now? Ambition, role models, lack of critical thinking, right? And embracing failure, right? These are all failure. There we go. These are all qualities, attributes, virtues, I would even say, that we need to do better on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Critical thinking especially.
Yeah, critical thinking is because critical thinking ties into your ability to learn as well.
100%.
Yeah.
And it also ties into your but the only way that you are going to develop critical thinking is by having information. And by having information that is not adulterated or manipulated, and information that is just pure facts.
Yeah.
And the ability to process these facts, right, with the perspective that you gain from knowing what happened in the past as well.
Yeah.
Context. And journalism, the way that I did journalism, the way that I perceive it, that's the role of journalism. That's the role of the media. And that's why the media, the whole point of being the media, taking people into account, and journalists taking politicians into account, and being a mirror to society, and not only a mirror, basically pointing out what needs to get better and where we need to improving the human experience, right? That is the role of the journalist, to be able to say, hang on, what you are telling me, what you politician, insert politician, right, is saying is bullshit. And I can prove that it's bullshit. And it's not the first time you've said this. And then with that knowledge, giving you, the voter, that knowledge, and then empowering you. This is the thing. It's called empowerment. Empowering you, the voter, with that knowledge that I'm giving you as a journalist, saying this person lies or this person is honest and good. Yeah. It doesn't always have to be negative, right? Yeah. This person's actually does a lot for the community. And when they say, I'm going to, do more, well, judging from their past history, you should believe that. That is the role of the media. That should be the role of the media. But somewhere along the way, we lost our path.
Yeah. I think there's also taking a side view to it all. Like, I've done 180 podcasts, or 180 something, and I think about, conservatively 65, 70 of them been with guests. And the unique part about that is I have this exposure to long-form conversation, at least on a weekly basis now, that allows me to just shut up and listen and be in something and chew the fat with someone. And for the sake of the conversation, the example that's easiest to highlight is local politics. Like, I still have no idea how it works. I still have no idea who's really responsible. Either. It's crazy. It's crazy. It seems everyone does the thing where it's like the Spider-Man meme. Everyone's pointing at each other going, his fault, his fault, his fault, her fault, right? But because I've had these conversations, people now look at me and go like, well, what do you think? I'm like,
I know.
I have no idea. I have no idea. But what I do know is the foundation of what I do know has been built like with multiple pieces of wood. Right? Yes. It's like this conversation and that one line and that bit of information and seeing this happen over 6 months. And now I'm standing on that foundation. So when I speak, unless you wholly and solely trust that Jake is the one who I'm going to listen to for my information regarding this piece of, regarding this question about this topic and in this order, right? Very specific. He's the guy for this in this context.
Right.
Unless you're going to have that trust in me, you sort of have to understand what all the pieces of wood were about, right?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, my foundation is flawed.
Yes.
So,
how do you know what you know? And that is ABC journalism. How do you know what you know, right? So I come to you and I interview you and it's like, how do you know that this person is corrupt? And then I need to, and you tell me, oh, because I saw them taking the bribe. I say, okay, how did you see them taking the bribe? I got to make sure that you're not BSing me either. You're not lying to me either, right?
And also need to make sure that what you saw was a bribe.
Correct. And was it really a bribe or was it just, a birthday card or something like that? I mean, we're totally simplifying. But how do you know what you know? Why are you the best person to tell me this information? You got to sell yourself to me. It's almost like forensics in a way. It's almost like when you're doing police work, and you there are bits that you don't know, and it is your duty to tell that to the reader. Your duty, or your audience, whoever it is, your duty is to tell your audience, to the best of my ability, this is what I know.
Right.
To the best of my ability, these are the holes, right? I will try and fill in those holes for you. But in the meantime, I wanted you to know, I wanted you to give you a heads up that this is an issue and it's important. And your issue about foundation, right? Because which is what I was telling you earlier when we spoke. And I said, what you're doing is journalism. And it was the journalism that I did for 30 years, which is, I'm not an expert. Heaven's sake, there were times when I had to go to places that I'd never ever been to in my life, right? So it was kind of like, okay, so this is, yes, I knew what the story was about. Yes, I had context. Yes, I had all of that. But like lay of the land, no idea. Got in, hired a driver and said, hi.
Yeah.
Take me to the crazy place.
Take me to the spot.
Yeah, take me to the spot. Yeah. And tell me about, tell me what's going on. To teach me as we're going along, right? So there was a lot that having that awareness of knowing, back to Donald Rumsfeld, known unknowns and known knowns and all of that silliness. Yeah. You got to tell your audience, this is why you should trust me. You should trust me because I've put the work in. I've actually made the effort. I've checked out Jake to the best of my ability, right? And I've also gotten a comment from the person that Jake is talking about. And they, even if it's a no comment, but at least the person that Jake's talking about knows that Jake's said something about him.
Yeah.
So there's no surprises going on there. And giving that information to your reader with the context that you have and with the information, the knowledge that I do have, and giving it to them and saying, here, please read this if you have any questions, well, in the big bad world of broadcast journalism that I used to do, there's no way that you could get questions back from people.
Yeah.
But in your format, you can. Do you have any questions? Get back to me, and maybe I can try and do a follow-up, and I can try and find out some more of what's going on. And that is how you help people with their critical thinking, by giving them information that they can trust.
Yeah, but this is the snake eating its tail. So you, like, using the example of local Bunbury politics, I've now been having this conversation for, I mean, it sort of started, I got nominated for Citizen of the Year 2 years ago, and that was like, went and shook everyone's hand, and then the person who was introducing me to everyone was like, yeah, Jake, he's going to run for council. That was like just the conversation. That was just like the shoe-in to take this person seriously. And I had never taken that as an ambition of mine, but I was sort of gifted it. You know, the universe gave it to me in that interaction. So I started exploring what that meant and what the job role was, and can I do it? Do I have time for it? Is it contextual to my life? Is it something I'm passionate about? Does it fit into my why? And the answer then was no. And the answer now is maybe, and the answer in the future might be yes.
Yes.
Right? So now when I have conversations about, you know, who should I vote for? What do you think of this person? Or, you know, when are you going to do it? What changes? What are you going to stand for? All these things. It's like, look, I'm a brilliant storyteller.
Yes.
Understand that any answer I give you, because I have some ambition that I might take the role one day, is going to be built around you one day voting for me.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right? But as a marketer, as a storyteller, as potentially a politician, as Jake, I'm not giving you the whole story. And I am an example of the human.
Yes.
This is what humans do.
Absolutely.
You know, the little boy runs up to you and says, yeah, in the playground, and then he bit my hand. It's like, yeah, you didn't tell me the part where you stole the ball off him to begin with, right?
Exactly, or that where you bit him.
That's what humans do.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So essentially, journalism, news, it's all advanced storytelling. Right?
100%.
So you're telling your story. As an audience, I have to understand that no matter what the story, it's coming from someone who's probably been in this field for such a long time that I might not even understand the context of what they're talking about. I'm just getting the top layer of the cake that's built on 4 different layers of sponge.
Very true.
You know?
That's why you've got to look at your sources. That's why sources of news. So the kind of journalism that I used to do was, you know, international journalism. It would take, it did happen. There was a bit of a cyclone here, and it wasn't reported on. It would take, oh my goodness, it would take the obliteration of Bunbury to make it to the news that I was doing. It would take it's in news that's for a global audience and aimed at giving information to someone in Beijing, China, as on the same level as it would be to giving information to somebody in, I don't know, the US, right? So, and you're absolutely right. It is. It's that know your audience, and that's where that's another aspect of journalism and media that's very, very important. Know your audience. And you do, because you run a successful podcast, and you've spoken to
Easy, I run a podcast.
I think it's successful. You got a lot of listeners, and you know the people you've spoken to 180 people.
No,
plus?
60, 70, yeah. I did 100 by myself at the start.
Oh wow, cool.
45 minutes, unedited, uninterrupted, just talking to a camera like a psycho.
That's a gift. You see, when you're talking about storytelling,
it's crazy is what it is.
It is crazy. It's absolutely crazy, but well done. So, okay, there you go. You talk to 60, 70 people, and then and you're still going. So you know your audience. So it isn't only about it's knowing who you need to target, and this is where the journalism and politics, you know, they intertwine, because politicians also need to know their audience. Their audience is their voters. The difference between the journalist and the politician is that the politician has an agenda. True journalists, proper journalists, trustworthy journalists shouldn't have an agenda. Shouldn't, I said. I know. I know.
No, they shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
No, they shouldn't have a bad
bias.
Agenda. A bad agenda.
Bias.
I believe this is what I'm saying. The human experience is agenda.
It is an agenda, absolutely. But I need to be able to separate my agenda, we all have bias. We're human. To be human is to have bias. And the biases are shaped by your upbringing and my upbringing and the experiences that I've had and the experiences you've had. And anybody who tells you like, oh, I have no bias, I call BS. Everybody's biased because we see the world through the lenses that have been that we have and that we have created as well for ourselves. And that's why travel is so important, because the more you travel and the more you see and the more you interact and the more you meet, the more lenses you create and the more you realize that we're all the same. And that helps a bit with the bias. But knowledge also helps. But we're all biased. Inherently, we're all biased. And anybody who turns around to you and says, no, it's not, don't believe it. But being able, there is a difference in bias and also having an agenda. Now, having an agenda means my organization, the media organization that I work for, has decided that we're not going to back Jake for local politics. We're going to back, I don't know, Larissa.
Yeah.
So we're going to do everything in our power to malign Jake and make sure that Jake doesn't get the same amount of airtime as Larissa.
Right. Any photo we post of Jake is a bad expression.
Exactly.
Any photo we post of her is a good expression.
And that happens a lot.
Strategic bias over organic bias.
Correct. And that's bad. That's where it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't, but it does. You and I both that it does. We both know that it does. One way of counteracting that is making sure that big media organizations try and do that, and they try and do that by giving airtime to everybody. So they'll give the same amount of airtime to Jake as they do to Larissa. They'll give the same airtime to, they'll have programs that highlight rural communities and urban communities, indigenous communities, different parts, to sort of give you as much of a holistic picture and information as possible.
It's sort of like asking 3 news outlets to describe what colour is, and then one news outlet is like, well, colour is like, there's heaps of different ones and there's like different shades of it and that, but colour it's this, and they show red. And then the other news is like, colour is same thing, and then but they show blue. And it's like, they're both colours. Can you show each other's colour? They're like, but this is a good example of it, right? But then there's the completely unbiased, completely unagendered news outlet that's like, colour's a spectrum, and it starts here at nothing and ends at here at everything, and in the middle there's all these, like, it goes like that. Absolutely. And also, when it comes to colour, you can pick whatever you want. Yes.
Yes.
But to be human is to be in a tribe, is to be on a side, and to, and it's to be like, no, it's red. It's red.
Yeah, exactly.
Red's a colour.
Red's a colour.
What else do you need to know?
And going back to conformity, which brings us right back again to our idea of conforming and not being able to sit there. Because being able to stand your ground and say, hang on, color's a spectrum, and I believe in that. And I believe that everybody along that spectrum has a right to be, and it's all, we're all human at the end of the day. And it's easier to belong.
Yeah. To
choose a side.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what politicians, to a certain extent, do. Well, they need to choose a side, right? Especially here, it's a largely bipartisan system. So,
I feel like it's such a I can't even think of what it is. It's like, it's such a like up to interpretation thing. Like I don't know, I'm a contrarian at heart, so I keep on, like, every time, you go this, but can we play devil's advocate? Yes, we could. It would be this, and that's again, that's a part of the whole human experience, right? But yeah, it's so interesting. When I stand back and look at what I do, like I try and remain, like I said, neutral in that societal, like, projection. I try and do a fits most sort of thing. Because, I've been excluded from things. I hate that feeling. And I've been rejected from things. I hate that feeling. There's that. And I don't want people to feel like, I don't fucking listen to Jake because he always bats on about this and not that, I must admit, my most recent political podcast has sort of made me feel emboldened. Is that? Yeah, that's the word, to get involved in local politics, because I feel like the representation of that person in that role made me feel like it can be done a lot better.
Good.
So just at the very least, because I've always felt like, I'm just a kid. Should I be, is that a spot for me? It's like, well, fucking he does. Yeah.
That's often the case. It's often the case of like, hang on, but I can do better.
Just to get into that, his main thing, and like you can figure it out, is the last person on the podcast, second last person on the podcast. His main thing is about, door knocking on everyone's and knows the problems of the local people, and it's all about paying, people are paying too much for their rates and the cost of living. And his salary as a councillor comes from rate paying, and he doesn't show up to the meetings. You're a journalist. Riddle me that, Just, yeah.
Maybe one thing from, again, I've never been involved in local politics. When you talk about neutrality, the organization that I worked for, it prided itself on being impartial. And the type of journalism that we did always made sure that we had, on one side and on the other, we always made sure that there was both sides of the story represented. There is a massive, big, thick, book of ethics about, ethical. A lot of it was you can't be, a lot of it was simple stuff like no bribes and but a lot of it was, and I think it's part of the reason why I don't do social media as well, was being aware that because you're an international journalist and you work for, a public organization, you're a public figure. So whatever it is that you say or you post on for the world to see is part of a reflection of who you are and what you do. It wasn't censorship, not at all. It wasn't at all about censorship. But what it has is I've got very strong opinion about things, but before I spout what I have to say, I will think about it. And I will make sure that what it is that I say is backed up by fact. And it's not just because
I've cried in this room by myself over the past month because of things that were said on that podcast. Like I've thought about it, and I believe that anything you say always on the phone to your friends in a closed door room is always for everyone.
Yes. Absolutely.
Always for everyone.
Absolutely.
To come on here and say that I had someone break my heart for a year and that made me less romantic, that's for everyone.
Yes.
Like, all right, to say the crazy shit about Kanye, that's for everyone, right?
Yes, I'm with you. And I'm the same. I'm the same as you. If I'm going to say something, I'm going to say
it's for everyone.
I'm going to say it for everyone, right?
That code of ethics should be instilled in people as they come through adolescence.
100%. And I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Being able to say that and do that. But that isn't the case with a lot of people. Now, if you're looking into politics, perhaps, and I've never been in politics and I've never been involved, I've seen 101 million politicians in my life and I've interviewed even more, right? What differentiates the good ones, and by good, I'm not talking about good as in personal good, as in the good for them, and the ones who are in it for themselves, is sincerity. And being sincere. You can't fake sincerity. You can't fake being sincere in anything you do in life, but especially in public office. And people will trust you if you're sincere. People will trust you if they know that you genuinely care. You genuinely want to make a difference. And that goes back, and let's take one step back from sincerity. Why do you want to get into public office? What is it that you see? Where are the holes? Where are the gaps? What is it that you feel that you can bring to this role that will benefit your community? And you're a very community-minded young man, and you want to do better. You always want to do better. You want progress.
I think to answer that question quite literally,
yes.
Some people go, and this is what everyone banks on, right? I'm going to put the people first. I'm going to understand the problems of, the average person. We're going to take all those things and figure out what the main ones are, and we're going to go in and we're going to make a change. It's not how change is made.
No.
Change in politics is made extremely slowly, and it's made by a majority vote, and it's made by meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. You have to understand what the process is before you can understand where you fit into the process.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
My sort of North Star as far as a local councillor goes is Ben Andrew, right? And the reason is I met Ben Andrew because he started coming along to my social skates that I host on Monday and Thursdays, at 2, 5:15, bring anything with wheels, it's fun. He came along, introduced himself. Hey, I'm a counsellor. Oh, cool. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, cool. Sort of had that backwards and forwards with him. And then I'd ask him about something and he'd be like, oh, well, I'd ask him about something happening locally, or I'd ask him about an event coming up, or I'd ask him about what's going on in council at the moment. And he'd say, oh, well, we're dealing with this thing. And me coming in full of testosterone and an opinion loaded from bullshit that I've seen online, I'm like, well, this is how I feel. And he goes, yeah, well, there's also this factor and this factor and this factor. And it's funny actually because in the review we learned this, and we actually found out that this is costing this, and these people are involved with this, and that's why it had to be like this. And you're like, oh, this is the fucking weirdo who reads everything.
Yeah.
He's the one who goes, okay, I know how I feel about it to start with, but he goes home and he reads the agenda briefing, the 400 pages, and then he goes to all the social events and he, goes up to people, hey, how are you going? And he has people come up to him and he's involved in local things, not just to say that he's on the committee. He does it because he's actually involved with his community.
Right.
He's involved with things that interest him, so it's easy to participate because you genuinely have an emotional connection to being there.
Yes.
Right? You're not just ticking a box and saying
sincerity.
Right? Sincerity. And now when I think about what sort of counsellor I would want to be and why you should vote for me is because I have an ability to learn quickly.
Yes.
I have an ability to understand where the gaps are and to fill them.
Good.
I have the ability to walk into a burning house and put out the fire as I go, rather than standing back and going, fuck, it's on fire, drench the whole thing. I have the ability to change my mind if it needs to be changed without the emotional connection.
That's fantastic.
Right? So I don't know, but I do know that when you put me in something, especially a high pressure situation, like staying alive in small business, that I respond extremely well. I do know that I build community around me. I do know that things organically get better when I apply myself without ego attached to it, which I built and developed the skill of doing.
Right.
The job's got nothing to do about what change I think I can do.
Good.
The job is about getting in there and figuring out what needs to be done.
And I think that's a great perspective, and that's a great mindset to approach it.
And look, I'll learn. I'll probably get there and realize I'm wrong. I'm good at that too.
Yes.
You know?
We all are wrong. Life is not black and white. Life is infinite shades of gray. And having the ability to recognize that it's not, it isn't. Again, back to our spectrum. It is a spectrum, right? And being able to say, ooh, okay, this is what I thought, but no, actually I thought wrong. Yeah, sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you for teaching me. I appreciate it. And great.
Yeah, that's, I don't know.
You're passionate about it. You want it, and that's fantastic. The fact that you're bringing passion as well. There's so much people who are jaded and cynical about everything. It's important to have that passion. It's important to want to learn, to change, to put out the fire, to do things, to do something.
To do something, yeah.
To do something.
I think that's the
waiting kills.
Yeah, yeah. Hell, that inoculate against failure was going to be my episode title, but I like waiting kills.
Oh, but you must give credit to Jude for that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like you just read all the bios for all the people, and like I think there's 3 spots available with 14 people running for it. There's 1 mayor spot available. There's 3 people running for it. And like buy me. You're writing a bio to get me to vote for you.
Right.
Pretend like you give a fuck about the job, please.
Yeah.
There's nothing, I'm gonna do this. You're not gonna do anything alone.
No, of course not.
I mean,
no one can do
these
anything
people,
alone.
I'm going to do something about rates. I'm going to do something about homeless. I'm going to do something about CBD activation, like they haven't been trying for the past 10 years, right? What are you going to do? What, you're God's gift to man who's going to walk in and be like, homelessness, rates? No.
Magic wand.
Right?
Yes.
It's like, no, it's a lie. It's a lie because if it could be done, it would have been done. And I'm guessing that the mediocrity that I'm not saying everyone, okay, I'm not even going to say that. That's crazy.
All right.
The average person that is trying to go for these roles, it's like, I where's the track record that suggests that you know how to cultivate success, and especially in such a big picture thing like running a population of 40,000 people?
Right.
Right? That's what invigorates me about Jason, is that the dude is constantly getting better.
That's good. Yes.
You want to put the brakes on that young man who gives a fuck about what's going on, who doesn't care about whether he's got the sash hanging around his neck or not. He will push for this town.
Yes.
That's who you want leading you. You don't want the person leading you who wants to lead you to be the leader.
Right. Absolutely.
The person who should be leading doesn't really care if they're the leader.
No. And the good leaders, and this is the thing, good leaders are the ones who bring people along with them, right? They yes, they lead from the front, but they do that by setting an example. They do that by, people talk about leading from the front, right? Leadership is on the front. Yes, part of it is, but I find that in my experience as well, in leading teams and leading people, a lot of it is actually leading from behind.
Or the middle.
And the middle. And it's kind of a bit of a dance. You're like, okay, guys, here I'm setting an example, and that's the front part. But come on, guys, I'm gonna tuck in, and I'm gonna get stuck in with you, because only if I'm stuck in with you will I understand what it is that what the real challenges are and what's happening, and let's try and brainstorm and fix it together. Because I can't pretend to know what it's like in the trenches because I haven't been there. But if only by being there, by going and sitting beside you, right? Like I would know what it's like to how difficult it is to run a small business. But if I wanted to, I'll come and sit beside you and say, hey, can you teach me, which you beautifully do to all these young men, my son included, right? And then you lead from behind, and behind means, okay, guys, I got your back.
Yeah.
I've got your back.
Go. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to work on this together. And you know what? Maybe we take 2 steps forward, and then things, we hit a ditch, and we get a bit stuck, and somebody gets a little bit hurt, but then it's like, okay, all right, let's stop, reassess, look back, but let's go.
Yeah.
Move. Go forward.
I think, I don't know whether you were directly or inadvertently giving me advice to be sincere, and I maybe responded to that as if I was not taking it well. I was responding to him, not you.
I have not lived here long enough to understand the local politics and the local political scene. So please excuse me from having an opinion. I think I can't.
I think most people don't know how to have an opinion about it because the system is so not complicated. It's almost purposely confusing.
Shouldn't be.
I know. But it is like you understand by experiencing and by participating over time, like, oh, okay, this style of thing, trying to make it happen takes this long compared to this style of thing, we can make it take less time. And this style of thing is purposely taking 10 years so that this other thing can be pushed through with it. So you sort of understand, like, okay, there's levels to how things happen. And then the people involved, because we live in such a small town, it's then their personal lives get involved. Like my candidacy, if it does happen, I also think there is potentially an equal amount of likelihood that my commitment and my contribution to this town is this.
It could be, yes. Yes.
Continuously being the voice of long-form reason for people to understand and make their own decisions.
Absolutely.
Moving forward. It might be that a council meeting, once a week and being a part of committees isn't my reality. Maybe it's having these conversations where I do hold people's feet to the flame and say, why aren't you showing up to council meetings when you're a councillor?
That is extremely important. That and again, going, hey, I'm a journalist. I believe in what you do in media and holding people up to the flame. That is the truth. That is why the media exists, to hold people accountable. And in a world where nobody wants to take responsibility for anything, where accountability has become a dirty word, right? The more people we have to hold people accountable or facilitate that process of accountability, that's the only way that we're ever going to, that's the only way hope for humanity, frankly.
100%. And also the the person asking the hard questions, especially when you have, regardless of how you feel about them, but you have someone like Charlie Kirk shot for asking questions and promoting conversation. It's like, I mean, I know we're in Bunbury and it doesn't matter, but it does.
It does. No, it does.
It fully does.
It does.
You know?
What happened to Charlie Kirk was was wrong on every single level. Whether or not you agreed with his politics, and a lot of people didn't, obviously, whether or not you liked his debating style or the way that he presented his arguments, there's whether or not, you know, he was your cup of tea or not your cup of tea, right? No one deserves to be shot for expressing their opinion. It is a travesty, right? And all the people who claim to be liberal and who celebrate his death are totally, I mean, they're kidding themselves. They're shame on you. There's a lot out there in the world, right, that I don't like. But violence is not the answer, right? Going back to what you're saying about change. And yes, change is a painful process. And yes, it takes a lot of time. And sometimes it's very difficult to change things within. Sometimes it's very difficult to get into the system to be able to facilitate the change the system needs. And the whole idea, and unfortunately it's gaining more ground. It's even getting more ground here. This whole idea of, we don't, you know, this more right-wing switch of, I don't like you because you're different, so I'm gonna do something about it, and it's gonna be violent. And violence is not the answer. I understand where it comes from. It comes from desperation. It comes from a lack of hope, as in we're in a place that things are not getting better. They're not. But it's cyclical. The world is cyclical, you know. I mean, we're long overdue for a reset. We're long overdue for an economic reset globally. We're long overdue for maybe a reset in, I don't know, values, morals.
It's a spiritual
attitude,
reset as well.
A spiritual reset as well, right? So all of that we're long overdue for. And some people are frustrated, and I can understand that they're frustrated. And they take it out through violence. But that is never, ever right.
Yeah. I think there's a correlation of things we're talking about here. The average person who, I actually raised this with Sue, I'm not sure if you heard it on the pod, but the average man who lives a silent life of desperation. And it's funny actually, because she sort of, Sue, like yourself, is a powerful woman, very good with words, very good articulating her thoughts. And she sort of said, you know, like, well, you know, here's my response to that. And I've since, great conversation with Sue, because I've thought about our conversation a lot after it happened, which I tend not to do after these podcasts, because you do, like, I go 3 hours just hard giving you everything I've got, and then I normally need to have a nap.
Absolutely.
Right? That silent life of desperation thing, I feel like it is most men. I can't speak for the female perspective, but, you know, I'm friends typically with business owners, right? We live out in space. We can make, like yesterday I went for, it was meant to be a 20-minute catch-up, 2.5 hour coffee. We're eating cinnamon scrolls. Who cares? You know, like, we'll figure it out when we get back. Do it tomorrow. Yeah. Most people wake up, go to work.
Correct.
And you want to leave early for lunch? No. You want to knock off early today? No. You know what you're going to do? You're going to stay till 5, and then tomorrow you're going to be here at 8:30. I don't care if you like your job. How much do I pay you? That's what I get. Yes. Right? And on top of that, I still can't afford a damn jet ski, and right? And I'm probably with this, I've got this awesome breakdown of how most people's relationships go, right? Meet each other.
Right.
You're in love.
Yes, absolutely.
Honeymoon period, right?
Yes,
that first like 6 weeks, you're taking time off work, you're doing weekend trips, you're going to Margaret River, you might go to Bali for 3 or 4 days, you're in love. And then life tends to just go back to where you were before you met that person. And she goes to work and you go to work, and your schedules don't really quite line up. You get probably about 15 hours a week where you used to hang out, where in the honeymoon period you had like 50 hours a week if you wanted to make it work, right? And it was almost like you found this new version of what life was. And the catalyst was her.
Right.
Right? And then you go back to life. And then she is still her, but, you know, it's different now. Because now I'm being distracted and I fucking don't like my job that much. And the days aren't as brighter. And we might be coming into winter, so the days literally aren't as brighter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then it just keeps going on. And then the girl at work is kind of nice to you one day. And then, you know, you start to notice that chick at the shopping centre, she kind of looked cool as well. This is just a human experience. You're not a bad person.
No.
Right?
No, that's normal. That's life.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you remember you really fucking hate your job. Right? And then you want to get, you know, your mate just got the new 300 series. So you want to get out of your crappy Hilux, right? But you can't. You can't. You can, but it changes everything. Then you can't go out this weekend, and you've also just picked up this addiction to vaping, and it's been 3 years and you can't stop. And you know, and then she talks back to you and she's like, we got to go to Europe. We got to go to Europe. We can't afford to go to Europe.
All my friends
are getting engaged. Right? And
when are we going to put in the hot tub?
Right? And then, you know, you get pregnant and all of a sudden the 300 series is so far away and you have to stay at this job and there's now seemingly less options and the funnel of your life is getting narrower and narrower and narrower. Correct. And now you have to go to work at 8:30 and you have to come home at 5. And when you come home, she expects she's got to take the dog for a walk. We've got to walk around the baby with the pram. I've been with the baby. Right?
Yes.
You're
describing the existence of a lot of people around the world.
The guy across the road is fucking Asian. And I don't like Asians.
Yeah. And he's taking my job.
Whatever you want, right?
He's different.
He's different.
His food smells different.
I don't like him. And he drives an Asian car. Yep. And he keeps his lawn better than mine. Mm-hmm. And he seems to be having fun on the weekends with his family. Mm-hmm. And he always smiles at me and he's got that smirk on him and it just fucking drives me nuts, right? Mm-hmm. Little does homeboy know that he's doing all this, by the way, right?
Absolutely.
It's got nothing to do with him being different. It's got to do with this guy
being unhappy.
Yes. Right? And it's being so deeply unhappy and so choked of options to get out of that unhappiness outside of just running away.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that life isn't actually, like, if you zoom out far enough, it's actually not his fault.
No.
It's not his fault. It's the world that we've let be formed around us by the people in power.
So, there is a way out. 2 things. 1, there was a psychiatrist, can't remember it now. Can't remember his name for the life of me. But he was talking about depression. He's written a book about depression. And one of the things he wrote about depression is that depression is not so much sadness. It is an absence of hope. Mm. And to have hope means that you actually can see a future, right? Mm. And to be able to say, like, in X number of years' time, I'm saving up to do this or do that. Or in next year's number of time, I'm going to be this kind of person or that kind of person. The world that we live in, and to a certain extent, yes, I agree with you, but I'm not sure if it's government. It's just the where we are as humanity, the point in our history as humans, is that our lives and our worth have become dictated by things. Mm-hmm. And our ability to have things. And if you look at it, if we're gonna put my J. Kerr conspiracy theorist hat on. Social media has done everything in its power to promote this lifestyle of having more things to buy, places to travel to, food to eat, recipes to try, exercises to do. We have created a society, and because the internet, and because not only the internet, God, I sound like such a dinosaur, because how interconnected we are and how open the world is. The world is so open and so interconnected. We all kind of have a very similar experience. It's very, unless of course you're very, very disadvantaged and your life is completely different. But we're talking about a lot of people in a lot of places, wherever you are in the world, right? We all kind of see the same videos on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. And what has managed to happen is that there's a there's this gap, and this gap is you are not good enough. It is complete. You're saying, I have my friends got the new Benz. Yeah. You know, my friends got the new car. Oh, well, I should also have a new car, but your car is perfectly fine and there's nothing wrong with your car. Yeah, but I do that. And you know, these guys are going to Bali and I have to do this. And I have to do, I don't know, an Ironman because my mate's done an Ironman. Well, I'm not really into Ironman, you know, it doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
But a lot of the but it's this, we're being bombarded by information, and it is information, to make us feel lacking, to make us feel less. When you feel lacking, what do you need to do? You need to fill the void, right? It is. It's basic human psychology. That's the way we're made. Filling the void. Some people fill the void by eating. Some people fill the void by, you know, there's a lot of ways of filling the void.
Yeah.
Filling the void. Now, what do we? And you're constantly. I have to do more. I have to do more. I have to do more. I have to, and it's not good enough. And it's not good enough. And it's not good enough. And yes, it fuels this idea of you're constantly discontent. And when you're constantly discontent, you're spending. You know, you try and spend to be more content, right? And you spend more to fill the void because you're not good enough. And you know, the guy on Instagram can cook up a very rich, I don't know, protein meal, and I'm not getting enough protein. I'm not getting enough. I'm not getting enough steps in. Yeah. I have to do Pilates because everybody else does Pilates. I love Pilates, by the way, and you know that. And it's all about we are not good enough.
Yeah.
And who's benefiting by this? And when you don't feel you're good enough, your options limit, and you lose that hope. And that is we go back to that hopelessness. When you are, and this is something that I'm aware of. I've had mental health issues. It's something that I need to manage for the rest of my life. And when you are in a vulnerable mental state, be it that sense of feeling lacking, feeling as if there's something wrong, there's something that needs to be done, and you feel discontent, you feel frustrated, you feel you lack hope, you are vulnerable, you are easier to manipulate.
Of course.
And
you want someone to buy food, make them hungry.
Make them hungry. Let them go out and buy more iPhones. Let them go and buy more things. But if you feel, okay, I'm happy with my iPhone. I'm happy with my old ancient iPhone. It works. Or I'm happy with just spending time with said girl in our front yard. And it's okay if it's not perfect. And it's okay if I don't look perfect. And it's okay if, we don't get to go to Bali like everybody else goes to Bali. It's all right. We'll get there eventually if that's what we really want to do. So this is where, you're saying about it's part of a, I don't know if it's a conspiracy, but this is something that I can seize. And you've got a whole generation of people who are growing up feeling that they're not good enough.
And also they have no hope.
And they have no hope.
Yeah.
And come along politicians or influencers or whatever you want to name them. And they come along and they start giving you hope. And they give you hope by saying, you're actually good enough. The role of religion for a lot of people has been to give them hope, right? And that's great, except when it starts to say you deserve the hope, but he doesn't.
Yeah, exclusionary hope.
Exactly, and exclusionary everything. So back to the colors, hope is red. It is not blue. It is not a spectrum. Hope is red, and you got to believe in the hope. And you got to believe in red.
Correlation, by the way, that's brilliant. The callback is perfect.
You see?
Yeah.
And it's and the way I see it, and again, I'm not an expert. I'm just a housewife in Jalorp. That's where I see we are. And it's not a great place to be. So
yeah,
where do we go from here?
I think where do we go from here is the impossible question, right? But what labeled me as a conspiracy theorist there is, how do we get here? It's the people in power.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you go people in power, he thinks it's a government thing. I don't think it's a government thing.
It's businessmen. It's big business.
It's merchants. It's vendors.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Because, like I said before, I'm trying to get you to buy uniforms. You know, the reason why I'm wearing one of the new BLXCK INK tees right now is because it's available on blackink.com.au. And if you want to buy one, this one, support your local town, support BLXCK INK, support the podcast.
I love the dolphin.
Right? Hand drew it myself. That's the whole point, right? The difference between me and Apple is they sell technology that infiltrates your entire psychology, whereas I sell T-shirts which hopefully make you fit in or not fit in to your...
Make you happy.
Right? Make you feel like you're part of the club, right?
Yes.
And I think when you sort of look at that, it's a full circle. It's tying into the critical thinking. It's, you know, to work off this example of like you meet someone, you're in a honeymoon period, you're in love, you know, the flowers are out. You don't run from bees. You want them to land on you. You're so just, I don't even know the word, enamored with the experience of being a human around another human.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Well, I built a business around being around her all day. I built a business around not having to leave home. I've been
so beautiful.
Offered 3 major opportunities from big business to be a part of their business because they appreciated the skill that I had to offer.
Yes.
And it took me away from her and the dog, so I said no. Right? So when I look at this silent life of desperation, I was aware of this when I was silently desperate in many other situations. And when I had an opportunity to start from scratch and go, oh, fuck no. Because what if it works?
Right.
What if 5 years from now I'm sitting back with my whoever it is at the time, and instead of having a 20-minute catch-up, we have 2.5 hours with cinnamon scrolls? What if that happens?
That's amazing.
Right?
Yes.
And the reason why I'm learning this on the spot, the reason why there's a fire in me to do something in contrast to what I experienced with Homeboy who came on the podcast is because I do believe you can be in a crap place and make it better for yourself. And it's got nothing to do with my story. And this is why we go back to, well, is the thing innate or is it something that I can ignite? Right? Can I ignite critical thinking? Can I ignite hope? Can I ignite this thing in people that want to have more?
Yes.
And if so, how big can we do it? Because I'm sure someone can do it for the whole world. But what if someone can do it for my garden that I can tend, Bunbury? And what if that person's me? Right?
Go for it.
Yeah, I brought you on the podcast to talk about you and spoke about me most of the time.
That's absolutely fine. I much prefer it that way.
Yeah. Every time I was getting deep in it, I'm like, I'm on a roll. I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to.
I don't think you should, and I honestly, I much prefer it that way. I find it very difficult to talk about myself, and not out of anything. I'm very, I'm a very outgoing person. I'm very much a people person and all of this. But, and actually, now that I think about it, and this is again something that I've just, maybe a realization that hit me right here. Maybe because I've just been so, I've lived my life very much dealing with people and always, being out there talking to people. I guess I don't keep that much to myself, and so maybe that's why I like to keep a bit myself to myself. So on a scale, I'm more extroverted, but if you ask me, I can be extremely introverted as well. And I guess that's it.
It's so interesting, the extrovert versus introvert, because I feel like I want to be extroverted, but I do my best work introverted.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like this room is literally always dark, blinds down, door closed, headphones in at that computer, and just moving forward, I tell you something, I always know what will be a good podcast for the listener as to how scared I am to release it. and I'm petrified to release
Are you
this.
serious? Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay.
Sound like I'm a Hitler sympathizer, that I don't like
You're
Asian
not.
people, that
No,
fucking
I don't think so.
anti-romanticism stuff of my early years. Crazy.
No, I think it's beautiful. I think, you know, you were talking there about you and Larissa, and I think you both are very lucky to have each other.
As do I, especially to have her.
That is beautiful, and you have a lot of gifts, young man, and one of your gifts is your self-awareness. Don't ever lose that, and don't let the world, you know, don't let the world try and dissuade you about all the gifts that you have, because you do. There are a lot of and you're lucky, because a lot of the gifts that you have, the ambition, the ability to be a role model, the ability to have critical thinking, the ability to, you know, want to make a change and want to have an impact. They're all things that no machine will ever be able to replace.
Yeah, we hope.
It won't be, because it's you know why? Because it's what makes us innately human.
Yeah.
It is that ability to connect. And well, I think it's very important, personally. So
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me. This has been fun. It's been a lot less stressful than I thought it would be. So yeah.
I normally it's funny. People usually have that. You can see it, you can feel it coming off them when they walk in the door. Like, where do I sit? And 20 minutes in, I sort of like that thing I was telling you about.
Yes.
I feel the frequency adjust, and I'm like, I got you. We're all good. We're safe.
We're good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes I get to this point, I'm like, oh, fuck, I didn't press record. Anyway, guys, be good to your mum, because we are out.